Hello and welcome back to the BFC, where we get into it with the people in the trenches of the trading world. Listen, guys, we have been putting a lot of work into the BFC, and seriously, producer Rob has been kicking ass, helping me behind the scenes, putting together shorts, doing those lives, or putting together those short lives that we've been updating people on. And I gotta say, if you haven't, please smash the like button, the subscribe button, and share this video. I want to keep this experiment going, and it's only with you guys liking and subscribing that we could really keep this thing going. So, and I will say I've had a ton of interviews and podcasts, as well as stock and investment updates. And yes, I know some of you are only here because you may just follow one ticker, but take advantage of the firsthand due diligence that we have been doing. That being said, how the hell is everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are having a great day. Yeah, I took a couple weeks off. Sometimes you just got to pull yourself back and take a couple weeks off. So yeah, welcome to the BFC. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome to the BFC fam. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. But I'm glad to be back at it, seriously. So that being said, let's take a look at the chat and see who we have today. Durjack, we got Fred in the house. Jordhuga, you're on the show, brother. All right. A.K. Hot Rod. Brian. Tactical Reviews. What's up, Iraq? What is up, Tactical? Great to see you. Dwayne. OTC Forever. We got John. Gary. Alicia. Must be enjoying some wine or a martini right now, looks like. All right. Don. Michael Singleton. As always, great to have you. John's Gold and Silver. If you want to laugh, actually check out his video. He actually does some pretty funny shorts, some good stuff. And check out John's Gold and Silver. Interesting channel. John Don is here. Howdy to you as well. Oh, wait, we got one. We got Barry the Great. Barry the Great set me up with an interview with VAPR. It was awesome. It was great to sit down with those guys. Shout out to you, and thank you very much for setting up that interview. I look forward to catching up with VAPR again. That's going to be great. We have Jeremy. Oh, great. We have Sly. Let's go. Gene Caiazzo. Yeah, he's going to be on. Sam Aker Finance. Rob MVP. Yes, he's done a great job. Kudos to you. Patrick Lee, Doug, Kelly, Sideways, Mark, Paul McKinley Art. Guys, it's great to have everybody here. This is a great crowd that we have here tonight. And let me tell you, I'm absolutely thrilled and excited. And I'm looking forward to really being consistent with these Wednesday lives, because you know what? As the economy is where it's at, is a lot of these great companies are pulling back at 52-week lows. This is the time that we find good companies that are increasing profits, increasing revenues, increasing their network, and building out. And this is when you buy. When it's down. Buy low, sell high, right? It's easy to say, I bought everything in 2021, which most of us did. Here we are now, and with a golden opportunity to find what we're looking for in those low stocks that are having substantial outputs. So, hey, no, but seriously, guys, this is not financial advice. We are just having fun. So if anybody's new here, welcome to the BFC. Now, listen, I want to introduce my co-host for the evening, my good friend, Jordhuga. Rob, get him in here. Jord, welcome back to the BFC. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, E-Rock. Thanks so much for having me. Rob, evening.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I know you're having a good day. You've been having a good week, actually. So we're going to get into that in a second. But you and I have been working on something that is going to be pretty cool. And we hope to bring it to some of you guys that are serious about funding companies in the future. We're going to be launching BFC Capital in the coming months, and looking forward to opportunities that we're going to give each other. And Jord, I just got to ask you, we have a lot of ideas that we're throwing back and forth. And one thing that I have realized and come to realization with and introduced to my BFC family here is that, there's more than just buying shares at open market value, especially if you have deep pockets or have a group of friends that feel convicted in a company. If you have that strong conviction and you want to go in, reach out to the company, because guess what? The little hidden secret that most anybody else will not tell you on YouTube is that you can invest privately at a far better deal. And I'm not saying don't invest on the open market, because guess what? I do it, and I'm learning to do both. But it's a little known secret. So, and by the way, we're going to throw the Discord link in there too, because we're going to be doing a lot of that in the future. So yeah, George, but just tell me, man, your thoughts. You and I have been doing this for a couple months now, and so we're young in the game. All right. But tell us the most important thing you've discovered so far, in networking, through the private funding and investing in general? Go for it, man.
Well, I mean, I would thank Brett Rosen first and foremost, and also Nick Coriano from 3DX. The reason being is that I had never, really known that private placement was something that was available to me, right? And so, having had that opportunity to reach out, I've now reached out to multiple companies, and I would say that the majority of them really, based on either how much you're investing or the time periods or even just the terms, don't work out. But in the case today, it did. And so, like I said, I think that the biggest thing that I learned about the networking is how important it is to listen to opposing opinions and views, and how important it is to see how larger money than yourself moves. How do they time the market? How do they make entries? How do they make exits? And having the ability to talk to Brett tonight is just one of those wonderful, opportunities that comes along rarely, because usually we know of these people's existence but never actually have a conversation.
Yeah, right on. And you know what? For those of you watching, I know, it's sort of like the love-hate relationship of Brett Rosen. Everybody's like either people are beating up on the guy or people are praising him. So it's like one or the other. And I do go through the investment world. I try to be as neutral as possible. I tend to be a fan of his investments. And I know some of you shareholders are right now like, well, the stock price is down 80%. Oh, trust me, I'm well aware of that. So I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But this guy is a target oftentimes for investing millions of dollars. And that's the weird thing. He's investing millions of dollars, but he gets a bunch of shares. Well, I don't know. It's sort of like when you buy one Pepsi from the store. You're going to pay $1 for a Pepsi, or you could buy a 6-pack for $4. Now, none of those numbers exist in the Biden economy, but that's a simple math. But if you want a 6-pack of cola, you're going to pay less than one at a time. And that's sort of like the elementary version of what he's doing. But now, and I know, George, you did increase your ILUS position. But we're not going to talk about that just yet. Yes, we're teasing you right now, you ILUS holders and you ILUS longs, and I'm one of them. But we do have our first guest primed and ready to go. George, are you ready?
Oh, I was born ready, my friend.
Our next guest is Gene Caiazzo from Integrated Cannabis Solutions. He's been on the show before. Let's bring him in.
Hey there, Well.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome, Gene.
Welcome to the
Great
BFC,
to see you
man.
again.
How you doing?
All good.
Good?
All good. It's always good. Even
Good to
when
have
it
you.
isn't.
Now, you just got back from London. You had some time up there. And what do you say? We were talking backstage a little bit. What do you want to learn in London next time?
Oh, I'm majoring in pubism.
I'm glad you had a great trip.
It's
good to have you back in the States.
It's good to be back, though. I love being back in America. There's nothing like America. The United States is an awesome place.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to get right into the nitty-gritty. All right. Let's talk about financials. Rob, let's pull up that tweet. IGPK. All right. Let's pull up that tweet if we could. You posted your second quarter report with assets and revenue from Houdini. Your total revenues for the second quarter were $899,000. Your total assets increased to $3.2 million during the quarter. No convertible debt was added or shares of preferred issued. Total Series A is still at $981,400. And then you gave the link to the full report. So, all right. That being said, you guys had a solid quarter two. So tell us more as to why your quarter two is indicative of sustained growth moving forward.
Okay. Let's talk about the numbers first and then the business second. Will that work for you? They're all tied
Absolutely.
together.
Whatever you want, man.
So in debt, what we did was we exchanged our accrued wages of approximately $545,000 and two notes issuing totaling another $490,000, along with demand notes, accrued interest, the total balance of $1.9 million. And we converted that all for a preferred Series B, which cleared up the balance sheet. And that was important. This step is one of for our growth plan in order to attract other entities. We needed to rid ourselves of the debt that the company was saddled with when I took over. I have not added $1 of debt since I took over. Consolidated, The apparel side operates fine on its own, as you can see from the financials. And that's what you had, so that was a balance sheet cleanup on the debt. As far as equity is concerned, which I think is, they go hand in hand. Since I took over IGPK, I have not sold one single share of stock. In addition, we have not converted or took one share of stock to raise capital. That hasn't happened. What we have had happen is I've been dealing with the leftovers of the preferred before my tenure. It's annoying to watch shares go through the TA and IGPK not benefiting from it, but it is what it is. I don't like it, but we'll deal with it. The good news is, as best I can tell, that inventory is well depleted. I don't think we'll be seeing much of that. I think, frankly, in the near future, it'll all be gone, and I'll be left with a bad memory. And that's that on the debt and the equity side.
And I did see that in regards to the volume.
Yep.
I seen it where it dipped. I seen the bid and ask size level off, and we were at that level that we were at just before that. So that's good news to hear that, there are no more things going through the TA, because really right now we are, and I tried to focus more on the company and the people behind it. But the truth is, anybody that's watching the stock IGPK knows that there is, and we had a high volume day yesterday, but you have sound bid support right now. So, and that's good, so if you're watching that, but that's good to know. And there have been many days where the asks are very thin. So I really do think that it's going to be up and out for you guys very, very soon. But I'll let you continue on, sir.
Well, I mean, it's important to understand that the businesses by themselves support themselves. They don't require the market for that. We're looking at the market to grow. We're not looking at it to finance ourselves and pay our bills. As far as growth goes, in the apparel division, consolidated apparel, we're looking to grow that to about 10 million by the end of 2025. And we think that'll be a reasonably easy target to hit. Obviously, organic growth with new products and new customers. Like right now, I'm talking to you from my hotel room in Orlando. Tomorrow starts the surf trade show. And at that show, we'll be showing new products that we're excited about. Matter of fact, they're due in next month. And the first load that came in is already sold out. Well, it hasn't come in, but it'll be here momentarily. So organic growth. Also, we're going to look to 24 and 25 for 1 to 2 acquisitions per year. We don't want whoppers. Nice, easy, singles. Keep hitting singles. We're looking for companies doing, $1.5, $2 to $3 million. If we do 2 of those a year, that will add additional products to Consolidated for Consolidated's people to sell, and vice versa. We're going to look for obviously complementary companies, and we'll finance those acquisitions using the SBA, which is what I've always used. Before the first acquisition happens, the 2 acquisitions I did that are now part of IGPK were financed through the SBA, and those will be paid off. Wow. So we use SBA money, which is a lot cheaper than anything else we can think of, to finance those 2 acquisitions.
Literally staying debt free as you acquire more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can see, debt to increase volume and profitability is reasonable debt. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to load up the company, and I won't. In fact, that's what we're paying a piper now for some toxic debt, but that'll be gone momentarily. Additionally, when we'll talk about cannabis in a minute, I want to talk about technology. There have been a few companies that have popped up on our radar, and one that's truly interesting. I can't say a whole lot about it, but we've come to terms with a handshake. Now it's got to get papered up on an AI software company. It already has products. It has, finished products and others in development and on the horizon. The entity it's exciting to us since the world is just scratching the surface of AI. The possibilities of what can be achieved are endless. Like I said, we're starting to paper it up and hope to have the first draft to them next week. And we're looking for a Q3 close on an AI company. And we'll share more with that on Twitter and with you on the 12th, which brings us to cannabis, because cannabis is going to be the focus of the 12th. And the cannabis has got a lot of things happening in it. We're in the early stages of papering up the second deal in the cannabis sector. And the target closing date for that is Q3. And also for Q3, we anticipate, it looks like it's going to work, forming two, what's the word we use? Joint ventures. There'll be joint ventures. These companies are already solid companies, but they need our manufacturing capabilities. And together, it should really be neat. And we have some incredibly exciting news, which we'll probably deliver next week on brand expansion that everyone's going to love. I mean, this one's amazing. It's sometimes just living good leaves things in your lap. This one landed in our lap and was like, oh my, this one's too great to talk about. It'll be a home run, and the manufacturing facility should really rock and roll with this one. Tom will be able to share a lot more of that on the 12th when he gets together with you. Tom runs the California operation.
No, see, they don't know what we're talking about yet. So let's tell them right now.
On the 12th, we will tour the cannabis facility on the 12th, and we'll show you most of our secrets, not all of them. A few will remain hidden. Pay no attention to the man behind the green curtain. But we're going to do a whole tour of the facilities. You can all see how it's done. We talk about all these distillers and, CO2 this and that. You'll see the machines in operation and understand what they do and how the whole business happens. And you won't be able to touch and feel it, but you'll be able to see it.
And we started talking about this about a month or two ago, and I mentioned like doing a virtual tour. So guys, this is going to be where you find the virtual tours here on Buffalo Fireside Chats next Wednesday. So, and this is what I'm talking about, is doing firsthand due diligence. And I'm not going to stop building this. Rob's not going to stop building this. George's not going to stop building this. And now I have him agreeing to come on. Yeah, Gene's going to come on for like the next year weekly to give us updates. No, I'm just kidding. But, but no, I do want to go back. I know you had some more to share, but I want to talk about a little bit more about the restructuring of shares. Rob, if we could pull that tweet, that next tweet in line. So right here, you put out Integrated Cannabis Solutions enhances financial structure with 1.9 million debt to Series B preferred stock conversion. Integrated Cannabis Solutions for the company. We know all that stuff. So basically, the company has successfully executed a debt conversion, exchanging 1.9 million in debt for Series B preferred stock. This move underscores IGPK's commitment to a robust balance sheet and long-term success. In alignment with its strategic vision, IGPK is focused on optimizing its financial structure to create shareholder value and fuel expansion initiatives. The conversion of debt to Series B preferred stock marks a significant milestone in this journey, reflecting the company's dedication to prudent financial management. Okay, so that being said, if you could explain to us, as if we're in kindergarten, what the hell that means, because there are some people out there, and I'm not saying insulting anybody, but that just don't know what that means and how it's going to benefit the company and how it's going to benefit the shareholder.
Okay, well, first of all, that stock won't budge an inch until the S1's approved, and the S1 should be approved. And at such time as it's approved, they will also, all of those shares will be subject to leak out provisions. So they're not hitting the market all in one time, and we'll share those provisions with you at the when it's approved. So all of this becomes, there's no way for us to flood the marketplace. They'll be leaked out slowly, and that had to be done to stop what's going on or had been going on with the toxic debt from before. With the TA, that's done, that's over with, and I won't let that ever happen again. I don't need to sell a share to feed my family and to have the company grow.
Right on.
I want you all, the public, to be part of a company that can grow together and we can all walk along together. I'm not here to, you'll see it with the leak out provisions.
Mhm.
You'll know just what we could do to the market, and it won't be much.
Yeah. And I got to ask, because you did mention the S1, how is the process going? We know I'm an ILUS shareholder, and I know how long the process could take, with the S1 to go through. How are you guys along in the process with that? You guys doing okay?
I know the attorneys are doing what they have to do to, get all of that paperwork together. And until it's done, I just sort of shrug. Like I said, I'm in no rush. So that money can sit wherever it has to sit.
Yeah. Man, I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, really. I want it there. I want the company to be where everybody's happy, because I don't really want to leak anything out until the company's where it needs to be.
Yep. Now, I did want to, Cody says, Ben saying for well, IGPK reminds me of ILUS before its big run. Not saying it'll run like that. Chart-wise and trading-wise, a lot similar. My biggest holding, and I will say, and this is just the truth, it was a different era in 2021. It was an anomaly. I really firmly believe that. And I was going to bring up the tweet. You already mentioned it. And just to show you, and you guys have actually been really communicating appropriately, and you did mention this on Twitter, and so we appreciate that. So basically about the AI. So, and you did mention that, and I got to press you a little bit just because that's my job.
Yep.
But it says, later in that tweet, it says, with an eye on a Q3 completion, we anticipate a notable milestone in our ongoing journey of progress and growth. And this, of course, marks merely the initial step. And you did just bring that up. But and I hate to say this, you gave us the timeline of like next week or whatever. So is this literally, are we getting news next week?
You'll have news next week.
Beautiful.
You'll have
you
news.
Heard it here on the BFC.
I can promise you'll have news.
And remember, none of this is financial advice. Yeah. Applause for Gene Caiazzo. Oh man, this is great. Okay, Gene. Go ahead.
Just a couple more things I want to get out there and see where you go. I want to just let everybody know what some of my short-term goals are for the company. IGPK. I had the prior attorney pull the last name change. It wasn't going through. We're going to refile with a different name, leaving integrated behind and the ticker IGPK behind. We're going to get rid of all of that this way here. There's still some lingering doubts and change the name. Also, regarding the audit, I plan to retain a new auditing firm and re-audit 2022 and audit 2023 with the intention of filing the S1 by January of this year. Okay. That ties back to the preferred shares. Mm-hmm. So you all know nothing's going to show up until at least then. Mm-hmm. There's more on the horizon as we grow, and I'll look to share more over the next 4 weeks. Right now, I think it would be wrong to open my mouth about other things, but those are the two big things that are going on regarding IGPK.
Right on. And so the two things I did want to finish with, and this is something that, so no reverse split in the
reverse split has been discussed.
Yep. And people, just so you know, it's not a cannabis company. It's a holding company, as you explained before.
It's really what it's going to turn into, and that's why I'm changing the name, the ticker, the whole bit. We'll have cannabis in there, but there'll be a lot of other things that hopefully can play to each other. AI is going to be the interesting one to see how that integrates.
Right on. All right, Mr. Gene Caiazzo.
Hey, I love being on this show, man. This show's great. You guys are wonderful. You really are.
Yeah, that's a great.
Any thoughts?
No, I just, every time Gene comes on, he just brings the heat. I think that what so few investors, it's weird because the OTC is probably the most difficult exchange to trade, and yet it attracts the newest investors with the least amount of experience. All of these different things that different companies are doing take time. And so to be able to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep accomplishing it, it's appreciated by the shareholders. Soon this pressure of the market will, release. And like I said, I can't wait to see where your stock goes because I've been adding.
Well, I appreciate that. We're having a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait. We should be able, as fun as AI is, the cannabis news will really be mind-blowing. I'm still giggling about this one.
You're getting me all happy over here. So
it'll be fun.
Awesome. All right, Gene, thank you very much for coming on the BFC. We'll see you next week for
Always
that
great
virtual
to be
tour.
here. I'll see you on the 12th.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Tune in for that virtual tour. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get Gene out of here. Oh, man, it's always good to have him on. And I'll never forget Gene's first interview. You know, he took over as CEO, first time being CEO. And I definitely see, George, you see it. You see the growth over the last couple months. Totally, 100%, don't you?
Well, yeah. And, I had this conversation with some people that I work for, that the labor market's changing in the United States, right? So you have to take people that maybe 20 or 30 years ago, that the whole entire criteria for how you got hired and what you brought to the table was quite a bit different than it is now. And so not everybody's great on camera, not everybody is going to be able to do this and that. And I think that he has just started to shine immediately, and it's not easy just getting on here and talking and speaking to everybody. And it's really coming across well. And I think it, to all of anybody who does hard work, is that it might not always be recognizable, but the results always end up showing, right? So, if they keep doing what they're doing, and they keep, especially like with the trade shows and all these things that they keep stepping out to, that every single time one of these things goes well, every time another person finds the brand, appreciates the quality, understands what they're trying to do, and now starts to see a better idea of their plan, which even, just the last couple of meetings we didn't even know. I think that's very exciting, and I look forward to getting money in before everybody else figures it out.
Right on. And Brian, I do want to address this just because there is a lot on our plate tonight. I will have live questions with Gene next week for that virtual tour. So he did want to know, but yes, we're not running on hiding. There's just so much on the plate that we have going on today. So tune in next week. Guys, if you're here, if you're joining me today, right now, the BFC is where we do firsthand due diligence with CEOs, management teams, investors, and like-minded people. So join the BFC. Let's grow. Let's get to 2,000 subs, because we're not stopping. We're going to keep this train going. And I'm so glad that you guys are part of this, by the way. Who was it that asked me what beer it was? I've been on a sort of a Sam Adams kick lately. That's a Sam Adams hoppy lager. It's okay. Actually, I got it for the Oktoberfest. Big Oktoberfest fan. So, but yeah, we're not stopping. We're not stopping. So we're going to keep this party going. Listen, our next guest has invested millions into the stock market, specifically the OTC and public startups, and has been the target of harsh criticisms, and praise alike. So I hope you have your questions ready for him, because he's not the kind of guy to shy away from questions. He's not. I've had him on the show multiple times, and you guys know who I'm talking about. You know the name Brett Rosen from RB Capital. So Rob, let's bring in Brett Rosen.
Hey everybody, glad to be here as always. I'm glad you guys can't throw eggs through the screen. That's all I have to say. Man.
Yeah, I hope you're ready.
Welcome, Brett.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's good having you on. Now, Brett, and seriously, people are on your ass like white on rice when it comes to the OTC. It's the truth. And while I can say I envy some of your investment positions, I wouldn't care so much for the negative attention you get while retail investors are taking a hit on the share price. And I do want to say, like, to all of you guys that are down in your investment right now, I wish you guys nothing but the best. No matter what your investments are, nobody wants to see people lose money. That's not the point of this. We're all doing this in one way, shape, or form to make money and to better ourselves. And that's why I'm doing the BFC. That's why I'm doing this, so that way we have these interactive conversations. I don't know. So thanks for coming on to address, these legitimate questions from investors, traders, and, people that are looking to invest. But could you give us an opening statement as to your role as a major investor that you are?
Yeah, sure. I mean, major investor / the person everybody blames when the stock price goes down, and the person that gets no credit when it goes up. So, it's always good. I mean, I've been investing in the OTC markets for 15 plus years now. I found that like a lot of really good companies start out here. There's a lot of companies that people don't realize that used to be pink sheet companies or on the OTC markets or still on the OTC markets. Heineken, for example, is an OTC company. You know what I mean? Nintendo, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Things that people know. You know what I'm saying? Like the OTC markets, like recently has gotten this like terrible stigma of like, it's because of the bull run of 2021. You know what I mean? Everyone lost tons of money after they thought they were millionaires, you know, and now they think now they lost it. So like now they need someone to blame. And I get it. I mean, there's a lot of people to blame. There's traders, there's investment banks, there's toxic lenders. There's like, I mean, there's a lot of people to blame for what happened in 2020 and 2021. You know what I mean? And like I said, I mean, I'm used to taking the criticism and the ridicule, and that's perfectly fine. But I really do care about the companies that I invest in. I don't have 100 investments in like 100 different companies where I gave 50 grand to 100 different companies. I mean, I have maybe 10 or 12 companies I've invested in, but I've invested millions in all of those companies. Like, I really want to see them make it to the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, because like, quite honestly, like that's how I get paid. Like I know that, like, you know, everybody thinks I'm dumping stock every single day in all these shares and all these companies, and I'm making millions and I get free shares or whatever you guys call them. Like, none of that happens. Okay. Like, none of that. I mean, like, a good example would be CIRC. Like, I mean, SIRC. I mean, like, I recently just converted $1 million of debt into 100 million shares to get it off their books at a penny, by the way. The stock is 007 right now. So I'm already down $300,000, and people are still screaming at me about dilution and calling me like a monster because, like, I mean, like, I'm like, look, you don't realize this just helped the company so much. I mean, like, I converted it at a premium to the market price. I mean, like, I already took a huge bath on it. I mean, people don't see those kind of losses. All they see is like, you know, oh, how come you got stock at a 60% discount to the market or something? I'm like, well, because I gave them millions and millions of dollars and their audits aren't done yet. I mean, like, that's why. Okay. Like, you know, I mean, like, and then another thing that I like to, like, just publicly say, obviously, is like, look, I never claim to buy stock and hold it forever. I'm a debt financer. That's what I do. Okay. Like, I get stock, like, and sometimes if a company needs more money and I have to do a conversion, I do a conversion, but I'm only allowed to hold so much stock, like so much percentage of the outstanding as a non-affiliate. So in a fully reporting company, like a SEC reporting company, I can only hold 4.99% of the outstanding. Other than that, I'd have to file forms. I'd become an affiliate, all this stuff. So, like, look, I mean, if people need more money than the amount of shares that I have, I do sell shares. Like, do I sell shares and dump them in the market every single day? Of course not. All these stocks would just tumble. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and I get it that they're down, and all stocks are down. I mean, and that's funny. Like, in another window on this thing, I have like Amazon's chart for the last 2 years, and like I was gonna like post it on Twitter and say, hey, look, $1,000 to anyone who can tell me whose chart this is. You know, and it's funny because if you do it, everyone will just say, oh, it's CIRC, it's Black Quarry, it's, you know, it's all these ones, you know what I mean? And it's funny, but like, people see that Amazon is actually down 58%, you know what I mean, over the last couple of years. It's real stocks too. And like, I'm pretty sure no one's calling Amazon a scam or thinking that they're going out of business, because everyone on this podcast right now probably got an Amazon box delivered to their house in the last month. So like, I mean, I guess where I'm going with this is like, look, I mean, the OTC markets is a dangerous place to invest. That's for sure. And like you guys brought up in the beginning, there are other methods for investing. Like you're starting the BFC capital. I mean, that's a way to reach out to companies directly and get better deals. And like you're saying, there's nothing wrong with getting a better deal or protecting yourself. And remember, like, nothing against someone who buys $500 worth of stock or $100 or whatever. That's perfectly fine. I think that those people are absolutely great too. But someone who invests, like, you know, 6 figures or more, let's just say, for example, wants some sort of downside protection against a penny stock, like, and you know, especially like an unaudited pink sheet. And it's like, look, sometimes the downside protection comes off as like egregious or like whatever words you want to use to say it. But like, at the end of the day, like, the money that I invest in these companies goes to the companies. When retail traders go and they want to buy, you know, $10,000 or let's say $10,000 worth of Block Query, they go in their E-Trade account or their TD account and they buy $10,000 from someone else who had it. Block Query never sees $1 of that money. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help the company go forward. And then they wonder why the company isn't growing. Well, the company isn't growing because they're not getting any money. You know what I mean? And like, that's like the bottom line, basically, is where I'm going with this. So I'm happy to take the blame. in the short term.
Well,
But you know, like I said, lots of companies that I've invested in are now listed on the NASDAQ right now. I mean, like you could take EXPI, you could take RVYL, you could take Sunshine Biopharm. I mean, that's just in the last couple of years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I have 4 right now that are in process. I mean, everyone knows QIND is going to uplist to the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, that's a company whereby I've invested over $1 million, almost $1.5 million in that company. I've never converted a single share of stock. I've never sold a single share of stock, and I could have this entire time. And I didn't do it because my payday comes, like, as people like to point out, when they make it to the New York Stock Exchange, because I have $1 conversion price. And I get it. Let's just say the stock is $3 and they go on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, fine. So I'm getting 3 to 1 on my money. Any one of you with $1.4 million could have done this exact same deal that I did. I guarantee you, if you called up QID and was like, hey, I want to give you guys $1.4 million. Can we do this? Blah, blah, blah. They would say, sure, here's the paperwork.
Bingo. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point. And I you know, to piggyback on what you said, that's why I personally am learning how to do things the right way. That's why I'm setting up this channel. So yeah, we can invest regularly, but there are opportunities, especially if we pull our money together and go for investments that we like. You know, and I'm not going to bring everybody on board. Hell no. I'm going to bring in the people that are serious about it, and, you know, to not to whine about the share price. I have a comment here, you know, at a penny today, tomorrow 001, just like BLQC. And we're going to get into BLQC in like a second. That's why I wanted to put this comment. Conversion change from $1.50 to 005. So could you just address that?
Hey,
go ahead, Jordan.
When did that happen?
I just wanted to, because I don't know if Brett was able to hear me backstage, but I just wanted to thank you. I was able to do a private placement with ILUS that we're going to talk about later. And I just wanted to thank you for that. But just to add to your point, that without the people, and this is anybody from retail can reach out to any one of these companies and ask, they'll just say no, is that this is when they need it the most. This is when private companies need the money. So this is when you as retail actually have quote unquote leverage to be able to get one of these deals, because when times are flowing and interest rates are 0, they don't care about you and you don't have the opportunity.
Exactly.
And that's
inflation's 8.5%. You know what I mean? Everybody cares now, you know.
And that's what we're doing. But could you allude a little bit to like when they're talking about a conversion from $1.50 to 005, and what are they talking about? And
it's basically it's like when you blend a couple of stories together to prove your point. Nothing was ever changed from $1.50 to 005. And as we all well know, Alonzo's coming on the show. He'll tell you this shit himself in a few minutes. Okay, like that never happened. In the very, very beginning, okay, I bought up all of the other debt, all of like the other debt that was owed, that Block Quarry owed to other people, or at the time it was ISWH, okay? And what I did is some of that debt converted at 005, and I get it, it was a ridiculously low conversion price, but that was the downside protection against $15 million that I invested in that company. I mean, most of the money I have invested in Block Quarry is not about convertible debt. It's got nothing to do with the stock. I have $5.2 million on a line of credit with them where it's just cash. It doesn't convert. It has nothing to do with the stock. I don't get shares if they don't pay me, nothing. I mean, and then I have another $4.5 million that I own of preferred stock, also equity. The only like debt that still exists that I still have in Block Quarry is I'd have to add it up, but it's probably like $3 to $4 million at the most. Like, do you know what I mean? And like I said, fine. When they uplist to the NASDAQ in this year, next year, whatever the math comes out to be, and let's just say they uplist at $4. Okay, fine. I'm going to get my stock at $1.50. Okay, and I'm going to make 2.5, 3 times my money. But you know what? Like, I'm not going to apologize for that. I mean, that's what I did this for. I mean, I run a business, not a charity. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I risked millions of dollars. It's not weird that I get 2.5 times that back in 4 years. I remember I invested this money in them back in 2021. I mean, it's already been 2.5 years. I mean, it's not like I'm asking for like some 100% like, you know, return in 15 days or something, you know. And
you couldn't even cash it. And like I'm in several now. You can't just cash out shares.
Correct.
Things need to run through a TA. You have to have a specific brokerage to do
Exactly,
that. Most
yeah.
brokerages, you know, they decline those shares, those conversions. So
they also only
it's
let
a
you
process.
sell a certain number of. So like I said, like people should also know that. It's a good thing you brought this up. So like I'm obviously not trading through TD Ameritrade or E-Trade or anything. I don't go on a computer and make my own trades. None of that happens. I have to call someone who essentially calls the market maker, or my broker who calls the market maker who does the trade. I have to give like strict parameters. Let's just say I want to sell, to make something up, I want to sell 50,000 shares of Block Quarry, but I don't want to sell it at less than 4.5 cents, because I'm just saying today's price, let's just say. So I call my broker, my trader calls my broker, and he says, hey, look, we want to sell 50,000 shares today, you know, but don't go under 4.5 cents, blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't go under, if it doesn't get to above 4.5 cents, I'm not going to sell anything. If the volume is there and it allows, like, yeah, like that's what happens. Like, I'm going to do it. But the difference is it's all about like, you know how you guys like make a trade and it costs you $6 or whatever the heck it costs, like, to make a trade. I am paying huge percentages of like to trade the stock. And when I say huge percentages, like I'm talking about like, if I trade $1,000 worth of stock, I'm not exaggerating this. Or let's say I trade $1,000 worth of stock, I owe $60 in commissions. Whereas, like, if I bought $1,000 in an E-Trade account, I owe $5 or whatever the math comes out to be. You know what I mean?
Not to mention attorney's letters for transferring.
Correct.
And that's a whole nother, that's another thing too, you know?
Yeah, I'm exactly. I have to pay for every single deposit is the attorney letter. Then remember, the broker has deposit fees. Like, I mean, like I wish it was as easy as like me just putting it in my brokerage account. If I could do this through E-Trade, I would. E-Trade doesn't touch penny stocks the way that I do. If you buy the stock from the company, I cannot deposit this at E-Trade or Ameritrade or any of that stuff. I mean, look, I use like custodians like U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, like, and then I have third-party brokers that are trading it through there. So like, it's a complex process. But I mean, no one's loaning my shares out for borrow. Like, no one's trading against my positions. Like, so for example, like the old school with toxic lending, people would see that like some toxic lender had 10 million shares of a company at 10 cents. So it's $1 million worth of stock. Let's just say the stock only trades $1 million a day. Well, that market maker now knows this guy's got 10 million shares. The stock only trades $1 million a day. There's no way he can sell them all in one day. So the market maker, unbeknownst to that person, loans the shares out for borrow, okay? And then that guy just dumps them back to some other market maker, churns it back and forth, and just takes the law, like however much the stock went down. So let's just say the stock goes down 10%. So they got $10,000 and they got the $10,000 and they made 10%. So they made $1,000 return. So like, as dumb as it sounds, a lot of these like market makers and like institutional traders, I guess you would call them, are like ruining companies to make like less than $5,000 a day. And I know that sounds insane because like people's whole lives are tied up in these stocks and stuff, but it's like legitimately what's happening. And it's not people, it's institutions and market makers. If any of you go in your E-Trade or Ameritrade account, go try to short sell something. Go try to short, and I don't mean a NASDAQ stock. Go try to short sell ILUS or Block Quarry. They will say, we do not allow tradings of this nature. Please call 1-800, blah, 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 blah. I don't care if you have a margin account. I don't care if you have $1 billion in your account. They don't do it. There's no such thing. Like Tim Sykes and all those guys pretending they short penny stocks. They don't short penny stocks. They short NASDAQ micro caps. That's the difference. They're not short. There's no such thing as shorting OTC penny stocks anymore. It's a total thing. It's only done by market makers. But unfortunately, they are the ones screwing up everyone's position.
Yeah, right on. And thank you for addressing that. Great answers, guys. Take advantage of this because, you know, this is the side of the OTC that you don't often see. Not on YouTube. You don't see it. You don't see them talking about, you know, and I know Sam Aker talks about, you know, the convertibles, the restricted, and he talks a little bit about that. But what we're talking about here and what we are growing on at the BFC is learning how to invest if you want to. Obviously, this isn't for, you know, a $50 trade or $100 trade. You know, and that's why like we're going to be vetting and we're going to be doxing people to bring onto the BFC Capital Group, and I think it's going to be great. Now, listen, we did mention BLQC, and so I want to bring in into the conversation the chairman of the board, Alonzo Pierce, to this program right now. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Alonzo Pierce.
Good
What is
evening,
up?
bro. Not a whole lot, just taking in all this wisdom and seeing my guy, seeing my guy Brett.
Alonzo's the most polite guy I've ever met. I love he calls her wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, as he was speaking, he'll tell you sometime I text him and say, man, I just wanted to just respond to some of those people for him because he doesn't deserve the backlash that he does get, and he just shuns it off, said, this is nothing, but to me, I'm like, it's unfair because I've been in OTCs probably since about 2013, maybe a little bit earlier than that, but on the more serious side since 15, and we've had some success in in engineering some alcoholic beverages, but never success as we've had since we met Brett. Now, before we would get investments of 10,000, 20,000, maybe 50,000, but we meet Brett and he says, okay, I'm about to send you $1 million. I'm like, this dude. Yeah. And I was speaking to someone the other day. I said, I just don't get it how, everyone can't, understand that. I mean, at some point, this man does have the right to go and get something back, because, this last 6-7 months, has been, pretty much, brutal, but not in a bad way. It's been a lot of waiting, you know what I'm saying? And, a lot of hope and resilience because, we knew things would turn around, but what about that guy that's got $15 million in there,
Yeah.
When is he gonna say, you know what? It's time for y'all to close shop up in there, and I'm gonna put someone in there because it's time for me to start recouping. And he's been patient. He's cussed. He cusses. But
I mean, when you're investing millions of dollars, eventually you want to say, all right, where's my return on investment?
Right.
And I understand that.
Yeah. And so, again, like I said, hats off to him. He's got thick skin. Like I said, he's been doing it a long time. So, he's built for this journey for sure. But, we're one of his tickers that we want to show him that, things do turn around, and when they turn around for the better, not just for that large investor, but for that day trader.
Yeah, for everybody.
For everybody, I mean, here it is. I'm in this company. I don't even own a share myself, so I'm just like, I'm the guy that screwed the most, right? Because I don't own any shares, so it has to win for me.
I know.
So it can work for everybody else. If it doesn't work for me, if it doesn't work for everybody else, it doesn't work for me. So there's a lot of commitment right here, and like I say, we've been watching monitors for a long time, just seeing how we can evolve in this ever-changing market right now, and we've come up with some pretty solid ideas to piggyback off of what we were doing already.
Yeah,
with the high performance computing, an architect of our own, so that we could totally be one of those essential businesses, item carriers, really, and selling our pods, to the masses, and land utilization, that when we're able to obtain a property adjacent to power grids here and there, that we could benefit, not just for that guy who wants to mine Bitcoin, but the guy who needs, for machine learning, government agencies, healthcare. I mean, healthcare, we have a healthcare business that we spent out, but it's still there, and there's a lot of AI opportunities for that. So, the ground that we land on will be used for a lot of different, businesses versus just only being, one, dominate of the Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I got to say, I had a chance, and this stock was brought up to me a couple weeks ago. So, there are many out there that are probably more well-versed in the land of block query. But I was really impressed just doing some digging into the group and looking at your bio. I had no idea. By the way, I had no idea that you spent some time in the NFL and you spent a lot of time as a college football athlete. No idea whatsoever.
Right.
And
Well,
you're with the Oilers briefly, right?
briefly, yeah. And like I say, that's where I became one of the most patient people, because I cut myself short because I became impatient because I couldn't be the man, instead of, just sitting back waiting my turn. So I felt it was a good opportunity for me to move.
Oh, look at that!
Wow.
Look at that!
Yeah. So
Oh,
Right
look at
on.
that guy.
yeah. So
Wow.
great times. Like I said, I just have this resilient attitude that no is just not an option. Iraq, and no is not an option. We're gonna make it on one way or the other. There's too many options. There's too many options out there. So so obviously no is not one of them. And just so excited about where we are. Even this week has been a good week. We've got some accomplishments this week. We heard back from the court. That situation, we were granted a default judgment in that situation there.
Good.
So that's going to move things ahead. I didn't talk much about it, and people wanted me to talk about it, but I didn't want egg on my face, because while you're trying to get a default judgment on someone who you're hoping they don't show up or they don't come up, because I've had a situation where someone came up the day before, and all of a sudden now you're back to the drawing board. But facts are facts. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. I mean, you tell the truth, you don't have to tell it one time. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to keep going back, changing your story. And obviously, we were, it's just a little panic waste type, but we were the victim, though. You know what I'm saying? Just happy now. We can move forward. It's still a little bit of paperwork to go that has to be done, but nothing for nothing. We secured the assets. That the shareholders claim that we were able to afford through those large investments. Now we have to kind of dig a few more shovels, but nothing for nothing. We have some facilities up in Missouri. We have one that turns into 50 megawatts right along the U.S. power grid. That basically, we have some pretty good plans, some big plans for it. Mainly, we have 3 that's ready to go, and our first 3 pods that we would develop, our architect, we're going to fire those up for our case use. So Block Query, it's going to look a little different, but it's going to be a lot more stronger. A lot more stronger. It's all about land utilization and power efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you have is like the one thing from Bit 5 days or whatever you want to call it, they have the deals, the contracts, the land, the municipalities on board for the power contracts. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot more than everybody sees, on the surface, because there's only so much. How much detail is really in every press release? You know what I mean? It's more of a summary than detail. You know what I mean? As every press release, So I mean, I think the pods are pretty solid. I think that's going to be a real big change in things. I know that a lot of people have recently sent me messages about those pods too. I'd be like, hey, look, they make these things in China for $20,000 and blah blah blah. Okay, well, you know what? Why don't you go talk to one of these companies that bought these $20,000 pods and see how well they are? It's kind of I could find a car for $1,500 probably, but do I really want to buy a $1,500 car, and then have to deal with it going up a hill or
traveling
anywhere,
across
you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I mean, it is what you get what you pay for, and I mean, remember, there's a whole lot more than just it's a lot more than a shipping container that holds Bitcoin miners. It does a whole lot more than that. You know what I mean? And I think that when people see it all unveiled and everything, it'll be a different story and people's tune will change.
It does sound fascinating. Mr. Pierce, could you just elaborate a little bit on the roadmap when something like that's going to be rolled out?
Okay, yeah. So obviously it's tentative, but we know that by Q4 23 we'll complete the engineering design of the pod, because we've already started on it, right? So. And basically, that was just a faith play, because we we can't focus on what we see. We got to focus on what we don't see, because we know we're going to turn this around as we have. Q4 again, 23. We the manufacturing of this pod has begun. We believe that this will be a state of the art. It will be a dual to triple threat. That's what we're going to call it. We even have a voice that will release that name that's going to be spearheading, most of the directives around there. But that is pretty exciting. And Q1 we'll begin testing the validation of it, because obviously we know come October, November, December, those are holiday season. Is you pretty much spinning your wheels, and you better off just trying to improve it yourself before you release it to the masses. After testing, then commercial deployment. We've gotten some calls, some interest in these pods already. Obviously we haven't told a lot about the fancifuls of this pod, but a lot of people are interested in this pod. But we want to be the first to market, so that we could really take advantage of something that we believe that's going to be very special.
Right on. So would you say testing and commercial deployment would be, because I was going to ask you what are one or two things you'd like to see get done before the year's up? Would you say the testing and commercial deployment is something you'd like to see by the end of the year?
Yes, sir. Complete the development and test of this HPC modular storage pod. What is our goal? Like I said, we want to be able to test it, benefit from it. Again, we're all about land utilization and the power efficiency, but at the same time, we do have miners in our possession as well to turn on and to show other mining companies. But at the same time, we have other space that's available for those that may be looking for storage for some AI components. So we want to make sure that this is what we want to do first before we release it to the market.
And I think the AI component is actually pretty huge that people don't really quite understand about the pods. Is that normal pods, let's just say like the $20,000 Chinese pods, all right, yes, they house a bunch of miners. Yes, they're connected. I get all this, but it takes like 5 people all the time monitoring it, like technicians, all this other crap. So these pods, actually, the new block quarry pods actually have like an AI component to look at. It's not an AI company now, but there's an AI component whereby, let's just say there's 100 miners in there. I'm making up a number, and miner 61 goes out or goes down. The AI not only tells you that miner 61 is offline and not mining Bitcoin, it also fixes it. It's like the 3D printing of the blockchain. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I know that that's not like the clincher of all this, but to be perfectly honest with you, it kind of is, because if you can decrease half of your manpower that's on each one of these pods, do you know what that equates to over the course of a year?
Saving salaries.
Remember, AI, there's no health insurance. There's no you know what I'm saying? You don't have to give the guy a 2 weeks vacation, nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say and this is the thing, people they talk about, well, people are pivoting to AI. They mentioned that in other companies, even the company that was on before, we're pivoting to AI. Well, you know what? There's going to be a surge in AI, and the truth is it's not going anywhere. And the AI field is going to increase substantially. I've had AI CEOs on the show, multiple AI CEOs, and I'll tell you right now, it's not going anywhere, and it's going to be a very lucrative industry. And it may be the buzzword now, but in 10 to 20 years, AI is going to rule. It could be fortunate or unfortunate for us. And it depends. Trust me, it makes me nervous when I talk about the AI adventure that we're about to go on, but it is inevitable. How it works out that's a whole different thing.
The worst thing to me, though, the worst thing about AI, though, to me is the Nest. Do anyone have a Nest thermostat? It's this Google thing or whatever. It's awful. If you don't walk by it for 2 hours, it just turns off the air conditioning, and all of a sudden it's 94 degrees in the house.
It's crazy.
Is the worst thing in the world. And that's so their AI better step it up a notch.
I was actually showing houses to some of my clients, and I'll tell you right now, like it's weird because it's just this patch that's on the wall. You have to link it to your phone.
It's
And
terrible.
one thing could go wrong. It'd be like 80 degrees in the summertime and your heat's on when you get home. And
That's exactly, seriously, you come home and the heat's on 87 degrees. It's like it's insane. And then I come home, and then remember, to take your house down from like 80 degrees to like 70 costs like $1,000. I mean, it's like
you need 3 air conditioning units in the back.
Yeah.
So Alonzo, you mentioned a little bit about this earlier about various sectors of the industry that you could penetrate. What target customers are you looking for specifically when you begin to manufacture the HPC data centers? Like,
Well,
what are your targets?
Personally, I mean, it would have to be, healthcare would be number one. Machine and learning companies, research institutions. I mean, R&D is what's it's going to be. But the healthcare, because we have like I said again, case study, anger management. We ran a program just months ago where we assisted Harris County in juvenile adjudication, where kids were given a second chance because growing up in poverty, not having health insurance, they weren't able to let's say get the necessary medication or just service,
the treatment, anything.
Yeah. And so by being able to give them this, that gave them a second chance from going to youth village where they would be locked up until they were adults, 18, but they were actually given another chance. And the case study showed that the county adopted it because it was a larger number of kids that got the treatment and got better, so that you may have to wear some wearable devices from time to time, but there's a huge upside in that, and just commercial enterprises, period. So again, we don't want to just be committed to Bitcoin mining, but we plan to submit hard data to our other offerings or whatever you have it, but we're committed to several opportunities that we could bring to the communities.
Yeah, I mean, there's way more applications. I mean, for these pods than just all the stuff than like just Bitcoin. I mean, let's just say like you're a healthcare provider, a hospital, or something like, and you have to like you have to say like HIPAA compliant. You know what I mean? You have to like back up your data somehow. Absolutely. Well, like think about this. A four-wheeler or a tractor-trailer truck could just bring one of these pods over here. They download all of your stuff directly, not over the internet. It can never be intercepted, nothing. It's with wires, okay, like old school, like Ethernet style, you know what I mean? And then they download the whole thing, and then the thing drives away and goes to wherever it's going, like, you know what I mean, to store the data. That's invaluable to people because like now there's no, it never goes online. There's no risk of hacking. There's no risk of anything. I mean, it's like if you take a flash drive and you plug it into your laptop and you download your entire hard drive, nobody can steal that from you. I mean, look, they can steal the flash drive. I understand that. Yeah. But like what I mean is no one can hack into it. It never went online. It was just you backing up your hard drive. I mean, that's essentially what you can have hospitals do. You can have, I mean, to me, that's invaluable. I mean, like when you think about like HIPAA and like all the requirements that these people are under for like secrecy, not giving any information to family members or however the hell it works. Like, you know what I mean? This is the wave of the future. This is like, and remember, how much are people willing to pay for this? Oh, we can back up your data. How much is it? Is it $1 million? No, we'll do it for $100,000. They come in, boom, like, or however much it costs. I made up the numbers, obviously, but I mean, that's huge. I mean, that is like the future of healthcare. That's the future of like even businesses who want to back up their servers, but don't want to like put their patents online or something. This is amazing. A truck drives up to your loading dock. Okay, you plug some stuff into it, you download all the data, done.
Yep. Yeah.
Exciting times, E-Rock. Exciting times.
It's very, very interesting. And I'm just looking at some notes here. So I do want to talk about the audit, but before I get into the audit, what do you envision for like looking forward? I know like there are a lot of bitter shareholders right now. I know like, we're well aware of things that need to happen, things that need to take place,
right?
But looking forward forward thinking. Like you were saying, you need this to succeed. That's the
Mhm.
ultimate goal. And I really liked what you said about building up community, by the way. I think that's great. I've been in education for 16 years. And so I do think that, it's an investment and we're investing in the future from many different angles. So, but when you look at BLQC, what do you envision, let's say towards mid to end 2024? If you could just enlighten shareholders a little bit as to where you would like to be at that point.
A very busy and successful year. I envision. I would not sign. I would not be the person that I said that I hope to be when I'm long and gone. That basically I don't see obstacles that we're outnumbered in. So we have to stay positive. But it's going to be a very busy year. Getting back on track, showing our architect competing, showing it off in trade shows, winning over new clients, the masses as well, and just being one of those companies that continued on their journey. They hit a couple of roadblocks, continued on their journey, got an uplist to NASDAQ. Brought on a whole new outfit of research analysts. The CEOs and the CFOs and all that are the minors. But what we will bring on is we will bring the supporting data with the brains that go out and do the case studies. Constantly collecting data. In all those industries, so that we can keep constantly uploading. Our software, like Brett was mentioning, our software, so that it would always be available to those those circumstances. But again, that along with the land utilizations, in areas where we could profit the best with the best power prices, the renewable energy, that whole aspect there. So we envision a busy. We're going to be busy.
Yeah, and like you said, quitting isn't an option.
No.
That's it. So with their 2022 audit, because a viewer did have a question,
Right.
About the audit. With your 2022 audit complete and the application submitted to uplist to the OTCQB, do you foresee a larger group of retail and institutional investors taking an interest in the company?
Yes. I think there's a lot of people standing on the sideline just to see how some things are going to shake out. But I believe that because we've always had an audit every year, the audit is there's nothing that puts it in jeopardy. It's just a matter of partner review and we posted. But the QB situation, we chose to go that right just because we just wanted to give it a little fanciful more look a little bit away from the
audit.
But yeah, I believe that's going to be a large influx of shareholders. That's going to, those out of there will be somewhat satisfied, excited, but then that's going to be an influx of a whole lot of other new guys. Just as soon as we start hitting up the pavement, because there's still so many more out there that don't even know anything about us. I think this is just So we're gonna this would definitely shine some more eyes on us right here, and including your show. The better you get, and the more we come on here, we're gonna continue to increase that viewership, so people can really see us talking in real time and not a press release, not a tweet. Not on Discord, but you got the real people right here, and this show is live. You know what I mean?
That's what this is about, and I'm telling you, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
And I want to bring people together in the spirit of due diligence and getting facts straight. Because you know what, the truth is, in business, timelines don't always work out. I'm learning that. Things don't always work out. You have to pivot. You have to be adaptable. You have to be versatile. You have to have those things if you're going to be successful. So you can put out a PR saying, "Oh, we're going to do A and B," but guess what? A may shit the bed, and you have to pivot to C. A backup plan, and that's just truth, and I do want to say, look what the cat dragged in. Nicholas Coriano. Long live the OTC. Long live Nick Coriano. Nick, good to have you here. James Lewis does have a question. BlockQuery is a Bitcoin miner and hosting provider. Why are you not actively reviving the mining operation? So he did have a question. So I don't know if you'd be able to answer that or not.
Well, currently right now, the foundation we pivoted a little bit off of just wanting to focus on just being a Bitcoin miner. I mean, I don't know if we've always been having to find the land, having to find the power, having to put the infrastructure on top of it. So I think that's what we were first, and then we were providing hosting service, as well as some self mining. But I think that now we can add a much better value to the company and the shareholders by giving it more of a more versatile outlook with other business interests than just mining. I mean, it's just what it is. I think when you're submitting documentations to even the SEC, I think they would much rather you to be more versatile and not just a Bitcoin miner. I mean, it just give yourself a chance, and that's what we're doing, to be versatile.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's and the Coriano again. By the way, guys, check out Triple DX. I called that one a long time ago. I'm a proud investor. Big shout out to Brett for always being transparent and showing up. Few big time investors in the OTC like this, and we know that, right? Don't we, Brett?
I love Nick. He's awesome. I'm DDX's largest investor, largest shareholder. I mean, I'm sure. So
I want to get on some real estate deals with that guy down the road. I hope that we're able to put our heads together and do something.
That guy's a hustler.
I know.
That
I love
guy
it.
works. Like, he works hard. I mean, he travels all the time. He's going to meetings nonstop. I mean, like, I'll get calls from that guy like 5:07 a.m. I'm dead serious. Like, he's crazy. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. So I did want to finish up with a question here, just because there was a lot of confusion. Like sometimes I go in, I like to visit the zoo, and then I call the zoo stock twits because it's crazy there. And I know people that they go, well, this person is that. I go, listen, I don't take anything, whether it's bullish or bearish. I take it all with a grain of salt, because you have pumpers on both sides that really they're detached from the situation because they're playing with a very little amount of money at some cases. And so basically it's just like a troll board, but sometimes there is legitimate information there. And I do try to get people from there that are looking for legitimate information to this channel, so that way they could do firsthand due diligence. But there was a lot of confusion about miner set. And, there's just a ton of misinformation out there, especially, on, like I was saying, stock twits. So can you clarify what happened with the miner set fiasco? And it came down to an audit issue, correct? And it wasn't your problem. It was more on the other end.
So I guess I won't necessarily call it a fiasco, but I could just go back and say that a couple years ago, there was a couple of companies that came at us and wanted to merge, right? And this is what shows to be true, that the companies wanted to be merged, and then they came back and said, man, we don't think we're gonna be able to do it because our attorney said that we don't have an audit. So then it stands true to today that basically when you back a private company into a public company, the audit is to basically show everything that you're saying is valid. Now we're the catchers, so we take your word. If I'm sure in a lot of cases we just want to say, okay, done. But it doesn't work like that. And with Miner said, there's a good opportunity there. But we signed we did an LOI for a merger contract, I guess, back in January, and then there's been a lot of going back and forth with it until that it kind of stalled. But what can we do? We don't control their books. We can't demand that they send us things, because this is supposed to be a joyful event, right? We're supposed to be having fun doing this together. But it just, what until that happens, what do we do? We're sitting on the sideline with our arms folded. So for it to be a fiasco would be, kind of misleading from our end, because we're open arms, but we're just saying, okay, what can we do? How do we move forward? And so that's kind of like the take on it. But when it comes to I guess you call it the street news. They want to put their twist to it. And
Yeah.
then they aggravate people to make them say certain things, and then there you go again. Again, we're trying to build here. We're not trying to be about conflict. Like I said, we've been dealing with the court for like the last 7 months. Why do we want to continue conflict? We're trying to give the shareholders, the investors, what they gave us. An opportunity to get a solid return, and anything outside of that, I mean, what do we do?
Yeah, and you know what? I love that you are admitting, and not admitting. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but like recognizing the fact that you need to be adaptable, and you can't just sit around and wait. You got to keep on keeping on, as they say. So and I wish you luck in that. Is there any final thought you'd like to say to shareholders that are here today, and or potential shareholders that may consider investing in you? Any message that you want to give these guys?
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited, for any, new person that we've gained, any new shareholder that we've gained this evening. We're excited. We're excited for the future for him. That person to be able to enjoy a company who's basically innovatively adapting to tomorrow. We're confident that we will be able to accomplish our goals. I mean, we have one of the best. We have the best investor in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this guy don't write $100,000 or $50,000 check. This guy sends you $2 million. So you have no choice but to do something with it. You don't put it in your pocket and keep walking and go get yourself a jet or get yourself a weekend on a yacht. No, you put that money to work so that you can do that.
Yes.
And I think that's what's been successful here. Again, like I say, there's times, it's like people say, well, you just spent it, you just put it on into the business. I'm like, well, shit, if I don't do that, we won't have this conversation today. We have a different conversation. Yep. We will, so again, we've showed a lot of integrity. I mean, whether people wanted to say, well, they're only saying this because you're looking at them, what are they doing behind closed doors? Well, integrity is when you're proofing yourself behind closed doors. Yeah. So I'm going to say we have a lot of integrity around here, and like I say, we've had to be patient. We've had to bite our tongue, and we had to take a couple of swings, but nothing for nothing. We're all men over here, and and we want to treat that shareholder like a man, and and that's what we're here for, that manly conversation. But we're excited for the shareholders, the ones we have, the ones we've gained, and the ones we're going to continue to gain, because we won't stop.
Right on.
You know what? I think everyone needs to understand that this is the kind of CEO. This is why I bet on Alonzo. Okay, because this is, what he never once just did. He never once blamed anything on anyone else. He never once tried to pass the buck. He never once tried to do any of this. He said, hey, look, we took this money. We're going to do this. We're going to make this work. We're going to do this. He could have blamed Minor Set. He could have blamed Bit5. He could have done all this stuff, but he didn't. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of like integrity like that he's talking about. That's the kind of stuff that like makes it through to the end. Like I said, I don't invest in companies for 3 months. I invest in companies for 2, 3, 5, 7 years, however it works out. You know what I mean? I have investments where I've invested, like, like I said, in 2015, I haven't sold a single share yet. You know what I mean? So, look, it happens. And Alonzo's the kind of CEO that I look for. People complain about dilution sometimes. And honestly, like, this guy is hard. Any OTC stock with less than 100 million shares in the outstanding, there's no such thing as dilution in that stock. I know that like dilution is anytime shares are issued into the outside. I understand the definition of it, but like most OTC companies have like $1 billion or more in the outstanding. I think we all know that. So like Alonzo's been able to raise. You show me another CEO that was able to raise $15 million or however much it was, without having 5 billion shares in the OS. I'm sure people know, some stocks. I won't mention any names, but it rhymes with Bumble. And I'm sure they got one will remember that one. That like,
zing.
I think we all know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. So. Right on. But Alonzo, I wish you all the luck. I'm hoping to have you back on in the next month or so for an update. So you're always welcome. Open door policy. from the BFC to you. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Their pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alonzo Pierce.
Thanks, Alonzo. I'll see you.
BLQC.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, brother.
All right, take it easy.
Excellent. And you know what? Hey, listen, I was going to do it, but I wasn't going to do it. But I wanted to wait till after he left. And I just wanted to share with him or share with you guys what my favorite my favorite moment for Bills and Oilers was. This was my favorite moment with the Bills and Oilers.
32 yards for the win. It is right down the middle. And the Buffalo Bills have engineered an unbelievable wild card, come from behind, record-setting wild card playoff victory here at Rich Stadium.
Yeah, we went on to lose the Super Bowl that year. So
I remember. Yeah,
we have few victories. Here, but hey, isn't this our year, Brett? This is our year.
It has to be. I mean,
This is the year. We say that every freaking year. This is the year. This is your. We'll be smashing tables and getting drunk in no time.
I was like, I think I was 9, 10, 11, and 12 in the 4 years in a row that we went to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. You're like, and what do you care? I'm like, I'm 10 years old. I think I bet on the game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna win 17-4. That didn't happen.
All I remember is walking downstairs because at the time, I was younger, and I'm like, you're 8 years old, 9 years old, and it's like you're walking and you're like, man, why is mom so pissed off? Why is dad so pissed off downstairs? It's like, well, I'll tell you why. Because this is the third one they did. Oh, this is the fourth one. No, and I'm not bashing on my Bills. I'm really, I hope they do a good job this year. But and hey, I'd be killed by my subscribers if I didn't talk about this. This is the truth. Yeah, you know where I'm going, Brett.
I'm gonna guess CYBL.
I got to talk. I didn't want to start with it, but look,
I'm happy to talk about it.
But before we do, all right, because I just want to share a thought. Let's do the cheers of the week. Rob, pull up the cheers of the week. Is Rob still there? Or did Rob quit on us? That's the question. No, he didn't. Hey, so check this out. That is Lauren Bentley and Jordan Starkman. Lauren Bentley is CEO of LSCB and Jordan Starkman of RMRK. I've had him on the show as well as one of his board members on the show, and I'm looking to having him back. I'm giving these guys a shout out because I had a chance to actually sit down with these guys. They came down from Toronto because we're working on an investment opportunity for LSCB, and so we got to spend 2 hours together at a coffee shop downtown in Buffalo, and it was nice sitting with those guys, getting more details about the business plan. That's what I call groundwork due diligence, guys. That's what I'm doing. That's what if you really want to get close with these companies, reach out, have really authentic emails, ask good questions, and it was a pleasure sitting with those guys and talking with them for 2 hours. I look forward to having Lauren on the show to discuss her plans for LSCB, and I do look forward to having Jordan Starkman back on to discuss RMRK. So cheers to you guys, and thank you for being a part of the BFC family. I appreciate it right there. And you know what? It's the Sam Adams Flannel Fest, Munich Dunkel. Very good. And cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
Yes. And so now it was great sitting. We had a great conversation for 2 hours. And, when I talk about, and you talk about investing in people, I like that one-on-one, be able to sit somebody, look them in the eye and say, all right, what am I investing in? That's what we're about
with
here.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Every single person that I've invested in, I've shook their hand. I've been in the room with them. I've flown to see them. I've had dinner with them, whatever it is. It's important because remember, everyone knows the OTC isn't exactly filled with the most scrupulous of people. You know what I mean? So let's just say that getting to see these people in person, someone will 99% of people, it's a lot harder for them to lie to your face. You know what I'm saying? Than it is for them to send you an email saying I'm going to spend your $1 million perfectly. I promise. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's easy. But when you shake someone's hand, sit down and say, all right, explain to me exactly what you're going to spend $1 million on. Now it gets spent a little bit differently. So I understand the whole meeting everyone. It's a huge part of what I do.
Yeah. And, I will say, that just fleeted me, but no, guys, this is what we do here at the BFC. All right. If you're watching right now and you're enjoying this content, if you've followed, hit the subscribe button, hit it. Just click like and share the video. Let's get the likes up there. Let's share this video and become part of the BFC family because I do these regularly. This is becoming a thing. We are a thing. in the OTC of getting that firsthand due diligence, And I get to torture Brett with the next question because listen, bro. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Long-term retail investors feel absolutely burned by Mark and the management, like across the board. And I'm relaying, don't shoot the messenger.
I know.
But listen, I truly believe we're going to be pink current soon, and that they met the requirements, and this is in the hands of the OTC. But dude, Mark, he can communicate. Is he just choosing not to? Is he doing it because he doesn't want to fuck it up? I mean, last time you were on, you said 30 days. Maybe you really felt that. But
I really did. Look, at the time, I really felt that. But
yeah,
I really did.
But in all seriousness, I mean, because you have a ton of money locked up here. You know what I mean?
Trust me, believe me. You don't have to remind me. I know it's a yes. It's a.
Give me a message. What message do you have now to people still holding on to CYBL? And I am too. I think this is going to go PC. I think this is going to tear the face off when it does go pink current. I think we're not even prepared for it, and I think people are loading up now to buy when it does become available because the proof is in the PRs. That I should say the PRs that we're not directly getting. We're getting yeah. So give me your thoughts.
Look, I'll start by saying I believe we're going to be pink current, and then the C will come off, and I don't know exactly when, but I believe it's all going to happen. And I honestly, in my 17 plus years experience in the OTC markets, I believe this is going to be like the turnaround story of like the OTC markets. Like, I mean, look, I don't talk to Mark very often. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, like, look, I do know that like he is trying to get this done. I don't know that like, look, he'll probably be mad that I said this, but I don't know that he always hires the best people because some people like to be in the same city as the person that they hire. Like, do you know what I mean? It's hard to live in New Mexico and hire a lawyer that lives in Arizona. Like, do you know what I mean? Because you never ever sit in a room with them. So like, I just think that like the last person that was supposed to handle this, like didn't do the best of jobs. I'm not pointing fingers, but I guess I sort of am. I do believe that like, unfortunately, and this isn't a criticism, but it's just the facts. I do believe that there's a lot more pressing business to CYBL right now than the caveat emptor and pink current. Not that they didn't file all their financials. Now I'm sure they're doing it, and I'm sure OTC Markets is running them through the ringer. Quite honestly, but I just think it's going to get done. Like it's going to get done. I mean, look. If they had no intentions of it happening, they wouldn't have filed all these recent filings. They would just stop. They would do what OpTech, OPTI did. They would just stop filing all their financials, stop spending the money. Why would you do it? Look, I mean, Mark isn't he's not trying to screw anybody over. And, people criticize the revenue and the fact that it wasn't as much. But, like, look, the guy said that in 2023. All anyone's seen is the first 2 quarters of 2022 or 2023. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, like, look. Governments and government orders, government contracts, whatever, they're it's cash on delivery. It's paid upon delivery. Like you don't get paid up front. That's the whole beauty of doing business with governments. So they want to know it's a real company that you can afford to finance the production of all this stuff before they give you any money. And like that's that's like what's happening. I mean, but like last time I saw and I spoke to Mark, I mean, he was flying out to, Europe or wherever he was going the next day. I mean, the guy is working hard. He's working. I mean, I firmly believe that the revenue will be there this year. I firmly believe that like the money will be there for the stock buyback program. And I firmly believe that we will become pink current and the caveat emptor removed. I mean, like that. Do I know an exact date? I mean, I would have thought, honestly, I can't believe it's not off yet. I honestly can't. I mean, look, I mean, and I'm as shocked as everybody else. Because I've been doing this a long time, and I've had other companies that got the CE for various reasons. Like, one time some stock promotion website picked up this company, and they got the caveat emptor because they thought it was being promoted or something. I mean, but like I've seen it come off, but I've just never seen it like take this long. Like, you know what I mean? I've never seen it. I also do believe that like OTC markets is very, very backed up, and I'm not making excuses for this because it should already be done 100%. But like the summer in the finance game and the stock market game is not exactly known as busy time. So like the summer is kind of like when everyone takes their vacation, everyone's kids are out of school, everyone goes somewhere, like, and I'm not making excuses, but I am just trying to like show you guys that, like, let's just say you do a reverse split the first week of December, or some corporate action, or not a reverse split, some kind of corporate action. It'll be approved in like 4 days because there's no one doing anything in December. Do you understand what I mean? But if let's say you try to get your audit done, hey, you submit your stuff on March 7th and you need it done by August 15th or April 15th. They're going to be like, are you guys kidding me right now? Like, you just gave me this stuff. I have 4 weeks to do this. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. So, I mean, see, OTC markets is backed up, but at the same time, like, I do believe that CYBL has filed all the stuff. Does OTC markets have questions about this stuff? Sure. It has nothing to do with revenue. I promise you that much. I will 100% state that. People have been writing me messages. I think it's because the revenue was low and OTC markets wants to see that they have more revenue. That's all bullshit. That doesn't make anything. How many OTC companies even have any revenue, let alone, I mean, like,
I was going to say, like, there's zeros across the board for some of these shell companies.
Exactly. So, like, come on, like, the OTC markets doesn't give a shit about revenue. They don't care about this. The preferred stock and all that stuff, and disclosing the names of the people and all that stuff, that has nothing to do with it either. Zero, like, absolutely zero. Do I know the reason? No. And look, I've spent hours and hours and hours of my time, and so is my lawyers, so is other people, going over their filings and trying to find the problems. And like, my lawyer was like a caveat emptor removal specialist. And when I say that, I actually really mean that. He's gotten the caveat emptor off of countless like stocks, and he can't figure out what the problem is either. So like, look, I did get a message from one guy, and I apologize about not giving you credit for this because I can't remember the name who it was right now. But he mentioned that almost all of the government providers of like drones or war weapons or whatever the fuck it is, like something with the war, they all have like either the yield sign, the caveat emptor, like, you know what I mean? Like something like that. Like they're not allowing like, I mean, look, this is all speculation. I mean, I'm just saying, but like, it's almost like they don't want defense contractors or anything having to do with a war on there. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he gave me 3 other examples of companies, and I don't have the thing in front of me, and I apologize, but like, I'll post it on Twitter or something so everyone can see. But I looked them up, and it's so true. And like, they kind of got the caveat emptor in the same fashion that CYBL did, and it was right after they announced that they were a government contractor. See, like, what I don't understand about CYBL is, I mean, I'm assuming that like OTC Markets has the Wall Street Journal or at least has heard of it. Okay, like, so you have to see that like there was a huge full page article in the Wall Street Journal with Mark, a picture, the whole 9 yards. I mean, like, it's on the Department of Defense website. It's on.
It is.
I mean, look, and I know everybody already knows all this, but like at some point, just saying it like this makes it sound ridiculous. Like the government is buying, or however many, 8,000 or however the fuck many drones it is. I mean, you're talking about like hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you think that the government is writing hundreds of millions of dollars of checks to scam companies? I mean, look, not that it hasn't happened before. I mean, everyone knows.
Get the hell out of here, Brett. Why the hell are you tanking the share price?
Correct. Exactly. You know, and just for the record, I'll publicly state this: I have not sold one single share of CYBL.
There it is.
Since this caveat emptor thing, since before the caveat emptor thing, like nothing, not even one single share. I mean,
and Dwayne had a question about could it be Montague? Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Restricted shares.
So Montague Capital is owned by a guy named or run by a guy named Dennis Kalenja. Okay. Who there was a picture posted on Twitter. I wasn't at the meeting because I was at the World Series of Poker at the time. Deborah was there with Mark and Dennis. Montague Capital is a fully registered and fund. You can look them up. You can see their investments. They're fully registered with the SEC. You can check them out. So is Dennis. Okay. You can check all of this out. You can go look it up. Okay. He has been, Dennis Kalenja is Albanian. Okay. He basically created a ton of business in the beginning for CYBL. Okay. He's a he's very friendly. He's not an affiliate. He's not an insider. He's not a whatever of the company, not an officer director. He is very, very friendly. He has set up several contracts, several businesses like that stuff. And the fact that he has those shares isn't about him getting rich. Like, not to be a dick, he's already rich. Okay. He doesn't care. Okay. Like, okay. But like, what I mean is like, it really is a poison pill. And I know that people like have different interpretations of what a poison pill is and like blah, blah, blah. But like, remember, like, let's just say you're a NASDAQ company. Let's just say I'm Amazon. Okay. Or you're Amazon, and I'm some I'm a trillionaire. Okay, I come in and I buy 51% control of Amazon. I now control Amazon. I'm now in charge. There's no more Jeff Bezos. There's no more like anything. I'm now in charge of Amazon. You understand? Like, that's how it works in the real stock market. So like these poison pills and these stuff that they have set up like this are set up to protect this from happening. Okay, from someone coming in, because like, look, let's just take a look at the market cap right now of CYBL. What is it? Well, I don't even fucking look at it, so I really have no idea. Let's just say the stock is what, 001. I have no idea what it is. Okay, let's just say 001. Okay, so the market cap's what, 600 grand. I could buy CYBL for $600,000. I mean, I've wired $600,000 to companies in the last 48 hours. I mean, think about this. Like, I mean, I could buy the whole company.
Oh my God.
This poison pill is super important right now. No one understands how important it is right now. It's keeping anyone from taking over a company who has $100 million in government contracts for drones for a matter of $575,000.
And they wouldn't know what to do with it, most likely.
I would have already bought it if I could do it for $575. I promise you, I would have. There would be a check at Mark's store already. Okay, so this whole thing with Montague and stuff and Dennis, look, is it the best situation in the world? No. Is it the worst situation in the world? Far from it. Okay, it is not bad. It is not. Dennis has other shares. Like everyone has shares. Like, no one's trying to convert these into common, and everyone keeps focusing on the fact that, like, oh, it could be 3 billion shares of common. It's never gonna happen. And even if it was, that would automatically make you an affiliate of the company. You can only sell 1% of the issued and outstanding every 90 days, which would mean that you could sell what, 55 million shares every 90 days. That wouldn't even matter. No one would even notice.
Yeah, the volume would eat that up
completely. So I mean, like, look, I still have complete faith in Mark Schmidt and what he's doing. Like, I do. I mean, look, governments, the CIA, the NSA, whatever, whoever. I don't know anything about the government contracts. I'm sorry, I don't even know but what I mean is, like, whatever like government agencies are doing business with him, like Ukraine, whatever the hell it is, they're doing it for a reason. And it's not just because like there's the technology. Like, remember, like, there's a lot of people that make drones. There's a lot of people that, you know, do whatever. But like these are obviously better than the other ones. And dealing with Mark Schmidt and dealing with CYBL is also better than the ones. The last time I smoked to Mark Schmidt, I asked him, I said, hey, look, is the caveat emptor like causing any problems with, like, you know, these government contracts? Is the government saying like, hey, look, you know, what is this poison symbol on your stock? Like, do you know what I mean? He says they couldn't care less about it. It doesn't even factor in. They don't even really care that they're public. So it's like, it's not impeding any of their deals. It's not stopping their revenue. It's not doing anything. It's literally causing a problem for people like you and all of me, me and all of us. And it sucks. Like, because like, look, I mean, like, everyone's watched their investment go down 90% or 95% or whatever the hell the math is. I mean, look, if you put yourself in a situation where people can only sell the stock and they can't buy it, I mean, like, what do you expect is going to happen? I mean, you guys all remember GameStop. You know, I mean, like, I'm not equating it to that, but like, remember, like, when Robinhood no longer allowed you to buy GameStop, but you were allowed to sell it, that caused a lot of problems. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And like, look, I've been like reaching out to OTC markets, and I have a call tomorrow with them, with OTC markets. Do I think they're going to tell me anything? Probably not. But I am trying to figure out generically, like, through hypotheticals, like what needs to be done, so I can tell exactly, like, you know, so I can make sure that it happens. Because like, look, I'm not doing this for all of you guys. I'm not doing this for Buffalo Fireside Chats. I'm not doing anything, not to be like a dick, but I'm doing this for me. Okay, like, I have millions of dollars invested in this company. The difference is we all win if I win. Okay, like look, Am I a retail investor? Do I buy in the open market and hope it goes up? No. But the more the stock goes up, the more I win, which is the more everybody else wins. Okay. A toxic lender doesn't care what the stock price is, because if it goes down, they get a 50% discount to whatever the price is. If the stock is 10 cents, they get it at 5 cents. If it's 3 cents, they get it at a penny 5. They don't care what it is. It's riskless. I have my interests aligned with retail shareholders as much as possible for a lender. Okay. Like, look, do I have the same deal as you guys? Are we on the same level? Of course not. Okay. But do we both make more money when the stock price goes up? Yes.
Yep.
Do we both make less money when the stock price goes down? Yes. All of my stuff is at a fixed price conversion. Like Cirque, I would wish that tomorrow I could wake up and turn on my level 2 and see that Cirque went up to 5 cents, because then I could stop. I could stop like watching that I'm already down 30% on my last conversion, and then like with my broker saying, "Oh, do you want to sell? Do I want to sell?" I mean, it's like, yes, but I want to sell for a much higher price. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy. I want to give a shout out to Beast Mode Activated. That guy, dude, he is always on his game, and I wanted to share his latest infographic that he has right here. So for starters, Q2 revenue was not impressive, but keep in mind revenues are not recognized in the period that products are provided. And let's be real, sometimes the government's very slow at paying you. Not to mention with how the budget's going. I forgot who I talked to, but a lot of times they wait till the very, very end to purchase a huge amount of contracts at the very end and use that money, so that way that money gets allotted again towards the Department of Defense. So
in the next quarter,
exactly. CyberLux is dealing with governments. Some are foreign, obviously Ukraine, and the procurement process is slow and cumbersome, to say the least. Patience is required. Cyberloan product CyberLux K8 UAS is listed on the U.S. Department of State website. We've seen that. CyberLux continues to add the legal team to ensure the success of the defense technology business. 3 additions with law expertise: 1 contract and litigation, 2 corporate and securities, and 3 accounting, tax, and mergers and acquisitions. And he goes on, the CyberLux Defense Advisory Board continues to add highly sought after talent. He served on the Operation Warp Speed and Countermeasures Acceleration Group under the Trump and Biden administrations. And an ending note: once the CE is removed, shareholders will get to hear the full story of CyberLux Defense Technology business future. So, if you don't follow him on Twitter, please do, at Beast Mode Activated. He's on it. And hey, follow me as well at Buffalo Fireside. And
follow me too if you want.
Follow Brett Rosen if you know who he is.
I'm pushing on 6,000 followers now, I think. So like, you guys better be careful.
I'm a sixth of the man you are on Twitter, or X, I should say. Hey, listen, Brett Rosen. I'm gonna bring get me and Jordan gonna get fired up on ILUS, but I wanted to let you go. I wanted to show my appreciation and thank you very much, sir, for coming on the BFC. We got to do this again very, very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime you guys want me back, just let me know. I'm happy to schedule it.
Yeah, rock and
Thanks
roll.
so much, Brett.
Of course, Jordy. Hey, thanks, Jordy.
All right, get this Brett guy out of here. Get him out. Get him out of here. Oh, that was good. You know what? I love having him on. He's transparent, and I think good things are going to happen for him. I think, listen, you're not sinking millions and millions of dollars in the same company if it's down, if you're like plagued with doubt. That's just the truth. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm glad that he was able to join us. Now, I do want to finish the show talking about ILUS. And so Jordan and I are going to talk about this. But before we do, I want to share the 4-minute video that was just released today with JP giving an update on QIND. So, Rob, why don't we play that? And we're going to get right into we just want to break down the old Nick Link, not the old one, but the one that was just released a couple weeks ago, and just talk about really the most important quotes that we think have the little breadcrumbs in there that are really going to matter in the future. So, Rob, if you could play that video, that would be awesome.
Greetings to our ILUS and QIND shareholders. I just wanted to give you a very brief update specifically regarding the planned uplisting of QIND to the NYSE American. So it'll just be a quick rapid fire update. You know, I'm in between meetings. There really isn't enough hours in the day at the moment, but I do want to make sure you're up to speed with the latest progress. And, you know, for me personally, it's important to take the time to keep you informed. We will, however, do a detailed update on both ILUS and QIND once this QIND S1 is filed, which should be very soon. And in that detailed update, we're very keen to share some important and exciting ERT news, you know, some of the Serbia progress, and really just provide you with a full business update. But as said, for now, let me update you on the QIND side of things. The audit of the new fiscal year period is complete. Our S1 is complete. It has been complete for some time now, and it's sitting with the investment bank as they go through their own internal box ticking process before the filing. So from our side, our attorneys, Lukoski Brookman, are happy with the S1. Our capital markets advisors are happy with the S1. So it's really just a wait for the investment bank to complete their side. Now, we did hope to file the S1 by the end of last week. However, with that holiday weekend and people taking time off, it turned out it wasn't possible. However, you know, things have certainly picked up quickly this week as people have come back to work yesterday. So with the progress we're now seeing on the investment bank side, I would expect that we can file the S1 very soon. And then just to quickly recap the process for once the S1 is filed, the SEC will review it and they may provide comments to it. However, we're of course hoping that there'll be no comments or perhaps only a few. Of course, it is the SEC, so there's no telling how long their process will take. However, from the moment the S1 is filed, we'll be on that clock counting down towards S1 effectiveness and, of course, the corresponding NYC American uplist. So we're hoping that it would take 30 to 45 days for S1 effectiveness, and then after effectiveness, we'll set an uplist date and we'll, of course, announce it to yourselves. And then we'll commence a roadshow with our investment bank for a period of up to 2 weeks where we virtually present our business to investors. And then after that, the uplist would take place. So we believe, based on advice and, of course, looking at other companies which have followed a similar path to ours, we should see demand ramp up somewhat once our S1 is filed. Probably more so once it's effective, but we believe it would especially ramp up during the roadshow as we present institutional investors with the opportunity that they now too will be able to invest in, right? For now, though, we've made a lot of progress over the last few weeks. You know, just one example is getting the new fiscal year audited in such a short space of time. And there's also been a lot of improvements made in the QIND business as a whole. And we're now looking forward to just getting that S1 filed very soon. Of course, you know, we know that this entire process over the last few months has been extensive. I know it's frustrating for many shareholders and, you know, of course, it's taking longer than expected overall. And we do feel that, you know, frustration all too well ourselves at the helm of it. You know, but that being said, we're now entering the prime period for an uplist. Well, at least assuming that there'll be no macroeconomic catastrophes in the near term. But it is that time of year when investors are refreshed and really the sector as a whole is eager to get deals done between now and Thanksgiving. So traditionally, this is a good period of business, which makes it a good time for an uplist. And of course, I get that that doesn't suitably replace any frustration due to the length of time all these processes take, but it is a very real positive for the business itself, which requires demand from institutional investors for its growth. And that's the reality. You know, it really is a good time for the business itself. But that's just a quick status update on QIND itself. And once the S1 is filed, I look forward, I know Nick also looks forward to providing a detailed update on the different ILUS business divisions and how they're progressing. And as I mentioned, of course, there's some super exciting ERT news, which we look forward to sharing. And it really is the culmination of work going on in the background out of sight for some time now. So we're, of course, looking forward to sharing that with yourselves. But that's it for now, I think. We'll get the S1 filed, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon, most likely in a joint podcast with Nick. But once again, I really want to thank you for your ongoing support. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So have a good week, and we'll speak soon. Bye.
All right, Jord, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
There's too much. I don't even know that I've honestly processed it like a traumatic event. Obviously,
just put out a tweet.
Yeah, obviously a positive traumatic event, but traumatic nonetheless. No, I just wanted to touch on something that Alonzo said that I think was very important, which was integrity. When we have the guests on, I think that one of the maybe overlooked things is by having these live shows and having the interactions that you do with the CEOs, you really get an opportunity to see that integrity, to get to see below the surface a little bit and how they answer the questions and how they conduct themselves and how they feel about, where we are and where we're going. And taking responsibility and, looking towards the future, but appreciating what you've done wrong in the past is exactly who I want, running my OTC companies. And so I really appreciate, them doing that. Nick Coriano came out from 3DX. Brett's given up his valuable time. We've got Gene popping in here, just always seems to have some great news and is doing amazing things. I think it's very important, and that often gets overlooked in things like, where the share price is, and that's good and bad, or other metrics, like in the case of Sybil with the caveat emptor, where this feels very much to me, and again, this is just speculation, but it feels very much to me like they don't really want to have to deal with any potential, like somebody runs the price down and makes this company fail when they need it to be operating right now because it's doing work. And so it bodes well, but man, a note or a memo would be nice for shareholders because the only options they have are to hold, which appears to be the correct option, or to sell for a huge loss, which nobody wants to do that since nobody can add, right? But getting back to ILUS.
I'm telling you, dude. Let's tell your good news right now. Get into it, man. Because I've known this was going to go on for a couple weeks now. I knew what you've been working on, but I don't want it to come from my lips. I want you to share with the BFC.
No, yeah, and again, I just want to thank Brett for bringing it up. Is that I really care about ILUS as a company. I think that the officers and the company are doing a great job, and I really want to support them in any way I can. Well, because of the macroeconomic times that we're in right now, the best way that you can support them is directly by contacting the company and saying, hey, I wanted to, see if you needed some money, I want some shares. And so we were able to work out a deal. Now, what we talked about before is it's very important that everybody understands that this is an option that is available to retail that I don't think that many people ever, take the opportunity to do. And getting back to what you spoke about earlier with the BFC Capital, this is where the power of groups using or leveraging the power of larger amounts of money can really, really shine. $500 to $1,000 probably traditionally is not something that most companies want to go through the rigmarole of actually doing everything. But just by forming a club or a group with friends or family or like-minded individuals at work, all of a sudden now you guys can all throw in $2,000 and now you have enough money that the company really wants to invest with you.
And that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be great.
Well, that's what I did. And that's the news. So, I was able to get 5,555,556 shares of ILUS. In addition to that, I was able to give them some cash that hopefully they'll be able to use in a variety of ways to increase shareholder value. And the nice thing about, being able to do this and be able to share this on your channel, and I appreciate you for that, is it's helpful to everyone to be able to show how you really feel about a company, right? To be able to express, hey, this is what I'm doing. This, it does not guarantee future results. These are only my opinions. This is just how I see things playing out. But now with, the S1 and that great update from JP and seeing all the news there, it feels like we're, a month and a half to 2 months away from the QIND uplist. And so weirdly, or at least very, very much the contrast, I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to get my money into ILUS. And I see other people that are nervous that they think ILUS is bad because the share price is down. And I just find that eminently fascinating. That, two people can be on such completely different ends of the spectrum looking at the exact same events. But
it's the glass half full, glass half empty, perspective. It really is.
Yeah, no, and I think that I want to thank the company and JP, Nick, and everybody that works there, Louise specifically, because I think it gets lost in translation what's actually happening, right? How amazing a job they're doing. And this actually carries over to a lot of people that you have on your channel, is that people are not always taking into account the great work that's being done. What you have to, or at least what I believe that you have to focus on, is when you can find companies that are so undervalued, as most of these are, because of the recession, because of the macroeconomic conditions, because of the fact that everything's down a bunch. But in addition to that, being fledgling companies and not being overvalued to begin with, not trading at multiples of whatever earnings are, makes it almost impossible to be overpaying right now. So if you can find the companies that are going to have a bright future and have the ability to survive, which, listening to Brett, and thank you for his wisdom, so many don't, because they don't have that availability to funds that they need to operate. That if you can pick the ones that you feel will survive into the next bull cycle, you're going to do very well. And that's always been the case. And I feel that way with ILUS, QIND, CGRA, DRCR, and 3DX. I love GRPS. I think is amazing. IGPK is great.
They're really turning the corner. That's cool. Like, it was great having Gene on.
Yeah.
Well, so, by the way, guys, this is our most viewed live show yet. Most viewed live show. This is our longest show yet. And thank you to, and we just hit 1,600. So I want to say thank you, seriously, to every single person out there that has actually hit the like button, that has actually subscribed and shared a video. So Jordan and I, we wanted to do a breakdown of Nick Link's last podcast, that meaty vodcast, I guess you could say, that he put out. And we never got around to it the following week. But what we did, and what I could say Jordan did, we watched it a bunch of times, and he took the initiative to literally find all the good quotes and what we think are all the nuggets. And he put them together. He time-stamped them. And we're going to go through each one of those right now and sort of give our thoughts. Now, we have about 15 minutes left, and we want to just finish ILUS strong here because, and listen, this is one, and I'm going to take responsibility here as the YouTube guy. I'm going to take responsibility as an influencer, even though, I really have always said that this is my personal opinion, personal journey, but ILUS is an investment that I am full throttle in. I've been in it for more than 2 years. I believe in the company. I mean, hell, I hate flying, and I know people in the Discord give me a lot of shit, but it's pretty funny. But I got my ass on a plane with our Lex, and we went down to Miami and went to the shareholder meeting. And that pretty much solidified my belief in their vision and their ability to execute it, and to look them, like Brett says, look them in the eye, shake their hand. That's important. So I don't want to just keep rambling. Let's get to these clips that Jord bookmarked, because I think that they're important, and this could give you some perspective. So here's the first one. Take a look.
Raise money in the OTC space. And we knew this. Go back to my podcast earlier in the year. I predicted this. I said this would happen. Hence why we got ourselves in line to do this uplist at the appropriate time and get ourselves ready, because the bigger boards are slightly different. The NYSE and NASDAQ, they're slightly different. They have a bit of different access to capital because it's institutional money. A lot of it is slightly medium, longer term view, as opposed to the OTC funder, really, which is looking for a 6 month sort of turnaround. They want to put in money today and sort of start to see money back in 6 months or even sooner in some instances. On the big boards, it's slightly different. I'm not saying quality of funding because that's not the right word, but a slightly different, let's say mindset or slightly different strategy of funding, which is why it's really important for us to get up to, the big boards as quick as possible and get access to that bigger capital. So that said, I know Brett Rosen gets a hell of a lot of stick from our shareholders and from across the board, all the companies involved. I can't speak about the other companies he's involved with. It's none of my business. But I kind of want to just touch on it on our side, because us, including you guys as shareholders, we should be grateful for Brett right now. He's one of the few funders that is financing in the OTC space. and continuing to finance in the OTC space and continuing to take risk in that space. And I know no shareholder, and bear in mind I'm a shareholder as well, right? No shareholder ever wants to give away tons of stock or any stock. No shareholder ever wants to see dilution, me included. However, what we all need to bear in mind is that for these lenders, money is their product. That is what they sell, money. So they need to be able to sell and buy more product and get more product and sell that product over and over again. And the companies need that product, i.e. we need money. So, that cycle has to go on. So although people don't like it when, Brett does a conversion and gets stock, not once ever to date since he started with us has he ever taken stock and not provided capital back to the company.
So clip number one, that obviously directly relates to Brett Rosen. Jordan, your thoughts?
So I think the key takeaway is that by utilizing their expertise and understanding of the different markets and seeing the conditions in which they're currently in, which is they're not able to get the funding they need in the OTC, by uplisting QIND to the New York Stock Exchange, it's going to afford them the opportunity to be able to raise funds and larger amounts of funds in quicker and cheaper or better and for better terms for them. And this is going to lead to them being able to do what they've been trying to do in the first place, because when the market conditions were different, everything was moving very quickly with very low interest rates. And so I think what some people miss possibly is that they think that the reward, or that they think that the destination is the uplist. In fact, that is just a necessity to our survival and ultimate thriving in larger markets, because we need that funding that we can't get outside of Brett Rosen right now, and private funders, people like myself, and anybody else who gives the company money.
Right on. Let's get to clip number 2, 3215. Nick Link again.
Podcast. So the 10Qs filed today for QIND. The 10KT will be filed. We're aiming for some point next week, hopefully in the earlier part of the week, but we're certainly aiming and doing everything we can for next week. And I'll say this out loud, guys, it's not in our interest to delay this. So while you guys get frustrated about any delays,
I think we're having technical difficulties.
Leading the team work day and night to get this thing done. We want to get onto greater things of growing the business and doing some more acquisitions and getting some more.
You can just skip this. This one's not even a big deal, E-Rock, because honestly, JP's...
We're already, he just addressed this. Yeah,
JP's update really covered it.
Yes, it did.
So that one's not even a big deal.
Yeah, right now. Yep. JP covered that. I think next clip is let's see, what is it? 2315. Is it 2315?
That's correct.
Yep.
100, let's say 200,000 shares, maybe 300,000 shares, something like that on a daily basis. Gradually massaged and bled into the market without any catastrophic effect on the sales, on the stock price. Well, if you work out, let's say 300,000 shares a day at 2.5 cents, whatever, you're still talking of small money, 6 to 8 grand a day worth of cash back. Times that by 22 trading days in a month on average, you look at how much cash the investor is getting back, i.e. RB Capital, versus how much cash he's putting back into the business. So typically we're obviously refinancing that Discover note, which we've paid down 3 payments. So we're glad to say we've got 2 payments left, and then Discover's out of our way. And I know those are not paid. They're paid off to Discover, which releases the senior secured position. And ultimately we just know we've swapped that debt out to RB. But they're long-term 2-year notes, which Brett wants us to pay back in future from the uplists. So they're not, we basically.
Okay, that's good. That's good. But Jordan, I did, you made me laugh because I was reading your notes, and you know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Eagle knows, because we've watched, we've listened, and you have a very beautiful way of putting things out. But in your notes, you did say people are talking about things they do not understand. So we much bitch slap them. So sometimes, and I'm just laughing at that. 'Cause I go, well, you don't say. No shit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I mean, that's a very
That's the
unique.
whole misconception with Brett. The misconception with Brett Rosen, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, and that's exactly correct, right? Is that one of the phenomenons of the
Man.
human mind is that in lieu of actual evidence, it will create scenarios and situations to deal with it because that's actually less scary than the unknown. And so it seems to everybody that there has to be something nefarious behind the share drop that's been going down, and it hasn't been. I wouldn't even say precipitous. It's just been constant. It has just gone down constantly for the last year and a half, and so it's very easy for fudsters and other people, and or people that don't really understand the reasons behind this, which is what Nick was addressing. Is it's very easy for them to misconstrue this as evidence and or something that like positively correlates to the company not being good. And what Nick was essentially saying there is due to the low volume, right? Due to the OTC, ILUS trading 3 to 4 million, at 2 cents, and it only being maybe $60,000, that it doesn't really make sense for them because they can't get the kind of funding they want. The terms wouldn't be advantageous to us, the shareholders, or to them as the company. And so once we have this, I've been calling it a financial umbilical cord. Once we have this connection to the New York Stock Exchange when QIND uplists, which all but seems, like it's going to happen in a matter of, I would say, a month and a half to 2 months, that once that happens, then again, they're going to be able to repurpose a lot of those funds, and that's going to open up avenues and decrease the amount of money they're going to have to spend to borrow to keep growing.
Yep. Let's go to the next one. 5430.
Of the podcast is about the ERT uplist on its own and kind of our immediate steps. Now, we've got a bunch of companies that are able to be uplisted or have the potential to be uplisted over the next 12, 24 months, that being eRaptor, which can grow globally into hundreds of millions of dollars on its own. Obviously, it's a non-event right now in terms of its scale and size and ability. But as we have more access to capital, we're able to grow that quickly. The technology is fundamental. The product is great. The Serbian relationship with the government is going great. So on that basis.
We forget about this. People forget, everybody's like, oh, it's all about QIND. It's all about QIND. It's all about QIND. Yeah, it is all about QIND right now because a lot of their future success hinges on it. But people are forgetting, hey, we have ERT, we have eRaptor, we have Serbia. I remember when people were bitching about Serbia left and right. Now that things grinding, things are moving as they should. They sent, we've seen the video of the plant, that they have there. This isn't some garage, this is a big deal. It's going to be a big operation. So, and he just said things are going very well with the Serbian government. That's music to our ears. I always use it. QIND is one leg of the spider. ERT is one leg of the spider. We have Hyperion, you have Replay Solutions, and God only knows what's going to happen in the future. I'm not going to limit them to 4 divisions. Trust me, I'm thinking Nick's mind. He's going, no, I think 4 divisions perfect. I think that guy's shooting he's shooting out of the solar system at this point. Let's get to 5610 on the next clip.
So just so you know for the timing. So we're consolidating all the fire and rescue businesses into ERT. So ERT is a subsidiary under ILUS. So Georgia Fire is going in there, Bullhead's going in there, AASS is going in there, Firebug is going in there, BCD is going in there. So we're consolidating all those into a new set of financials within that ERT business, which is under ILUS, again, 100% owned by ILUS. That those consolidations have to get a consolidated audit, which we're physically busy with right now. So once that is done, then we'll be able to basically start to work for the ERT uplist, which
Jordan. Did I just lose Jordan? I like how he called it ASSS. That was pretty funny. But there he is. He's talking about, wait, where'd he go? Did I lose Jordan? He goes 25. So, there he is. There you are. Welcome back. Sorry.
Yeah, it's always something, right?
I was laughing at ASSS. That's a nice fancy way to say ass. All right, but go ahead. Sorry about that.
No. So again, the takeaway here is that what people are misconstruing because of previous experiences with other OTC companies is that it's easy in when there's silence or when you're not hearing any kind of news or update for the other what's available, the fudsters, the bad news, the make believe, for that to fill in the gaps where it shouldn't. ERT is a private company right now owned by ILUS, and so is not bound to actually do the press releases and do these different things as they move forward. And they are not going to be bound until they actually do the uplisting, which Nick had stated is already kind of running in concert, although it will not happen until after the QIND uplist. But the paperwork and everything else has already been, been happening. And so when they talk about companies like the eRaptor and these other things rolling up, this is what I took their meaning to be when they said generational wealth, is that what you have is many, business seedlings that are going to grow into these financial oak trees that are just going to be dropping acorns for all of us to pick up and sell. And we're going to be the acorn sellingest people you've ever met in your life. Because these companies are going to be very, prosperous.
Yeah, and we saw that great news with Hyperion, and yeah, it was a small contract, but it's a step in the right direction. Some OTC companies would just that one contract would be their news. So when you look at and when you zoom out and look at the whole grand scheme of things and the conglomerate that they're building, it's sort of a no brainer. Let's bring it to.
Yeah, I also think it acts. I also think it acts as a nice proof of concept, right? Yep. Because I think that whenever anybody has any grandiose or pie in the sky dreams, I support that. I like that, and I think most entrepreneurs like that. But it rarely actually comes to fruition, right? It's like that's where you have to just be tenacious, because it is by not giving up that you'll be successful. But in situations like this, man, kudos to them, because man, they're just absolutely crushing it.
They are. 57-52. Rob, pull that.
Global warming and all these type of things going on. So, and people's habits changing. So we would look to acquire that business, and we look to acquire the US business that we've spoken about before. It's an emergency rescue vehicles business in Florida, manufacturing. Last year it did close to 60 odd million revenue. It's got 150 odd million dollar worth of order book. Very strong business.
Yep, and I had JP on my show last year, or earlier this year, I should say. He was talking about this. I asked him specifically about it, and he told us all about this, guys. This was, if you were on board, if you were on the BFC, if you were watching my interviews, I'm working on hopefully maybe putting something together with him in the next week. I'm just going to release it if I do, I think. I don't want to hype it because I just want to have some good content with the guy. But I mean, they've answered a lot of questions so far. I'm hoping our schedules latch up in the next week or two where we could sit down and I could ask a couple questions. But I mean, Jord, this alone is just, it's magnificent. And here we are talking about eRaptors, and then the next minute we're talking about a Florida acquisition worth $68 million in revenue, with 150 in the order books. Come on. That's just my thought. I'll let you take the next one. Let's go to 58-36.
In terms of the timeline, because I know that's all you guys are interested in, kind of the dividend that you guys will get at the end of the day. They're pretty much running parallel with what we're doing with QIND at the moment. So the team are consolidating financials, getting all that stuff ready, so that we could move into an S1 pretty quickly on an ERT position after the QIND is done. So our vision really is QIND, flag in the ground, NYSE up, done, new board, and some senior execs onto the QIND board, let QIND run. ILUS organizes some refinance out of off their collateral. ILUS then is able to refinance its debt pool and also kind of strengthen all the operating subsidiaries with working capital so it can drive itself forward. Simultaneously, the team now focus on the ERT uplist, which really is accelerating the financials, audit, S1 prepared, and basically getting that ready to spin out an uplist. It's that simple. It's really a copy and paste of what we're doing at the moment.
Jord, go.
Well, now I see why you gave it to me, because we sort of already covered this one. So
Yes.
well played, E-Rock. But no, that's kind of the key, right? And so I think that we're in a truly beginning stage for the company, because I think that due to the share price going down, until they have, again, a proof of concept, which will be the QIND uplist, that it's going to be difficult for the regular retail investors, and it's still at the early stages for larger money to roll in. I think that will happen during the uplist after they do the roadshow. So I just think it's really, really interesting, but that's not the most interesting part. The most interesting part is, he says, once you watch how we do the QIND uplist, we're going to take that same formula, copy and paste it, and that's what we're going to do to ERT, and then ultimately Hyperion, and anything else that comes down the pike in the future.
Right on. I completely agree. And you know what? Just because you're comment, I'm gonna let you take the last two. How about that?
What? Okay, I'll do it.
Me. Okay, all right, I will. 1 hour on the button, go.
The capital. Meanwhile, we've been growing Replay and eRaptor aggressively, and Hyperion, and hopefully acquired another chunky asset, which we've just started early discussions with.
Asset.
And then there we go. Then you can see how the copy paste model goes. QIND up, ERT up, eRaptor up, and slowly we go for the next 2 years, just pushing out, incubating, and growing out our own subsidiary companies.
Yep, and this one actually works great because it'll fill that gap, which is why we're so easily friends with our ADHD, that we constantly say things that we never finish those thoughts. But since the other one doesn't really notice it, because they've already moved on to their own thoughts, that it doesn't bother them.
100%.
But we sort of addressed this before, but I don't know if I finished the thought, which was this was my understanding of the generational wealth, right? As each one of these things keeps moving up, and the potential for free shares to be issued to ILUS shareholders, that you're really going to see benefits that, while difficult to quantify right now, as long as their plan goes the way that they wanted it to, the returns are going to be astronomical, because it's not just going to be what you get from QIND, which I think, as a percentage of the total amount you have invested in ILUS, is not going to be, oh my God, it's not going to be anything 50% or that. It's just not possible. But very much like compound interest or, fractals, that as you start to see how each single one is start to create other ones. And so you're not just getting the money from QIND, but then you're getting the money from ERT, then eRaptor, and then the, Replay, and all the, the Super Broom and Hyperion. And once that happens over the course of 2 to 3 to 4 years, and you start to see the synergistic effects building up the equity in between all those companies, while also decreasing the amount of money it costs to operate each one. Yeah, that's what I'm holding out for.
Right on. Somebody, who was it? John Golombiowski. I don't know if I said that correctly. How long have you been owning ILUS? 2+ years. And George, same thing, 2+ years. We were long-term investors. And so, and now this is where it's getting really fun. I know you're probably thinking, well, the share price is down. Why do you think it's getting fun? Oh no, this is getting wild, because this is where we're going to really strike out an opportunity to double up as George did. And I'm going to try and get as many shares as possible before QID launches. And the real fiasco. Fiasco is like the word of the day for me. I'm using the word fiasco in the wrong context. And I know, Jord, you know your definitions very well. Not fiasco. The real excitement starts to happen. How about that? Is that better?
I do it with literally all the time, no matter what. I know. I still do. So now I try to throw in an ultimately. Ultimately is my new literally.
That's your word, dude. Ultimately is your word, straight up.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whenever I'm having a good conversation with Jord, and when I hear ultimately, I'm like, oh, this is getting deep. This is getting real deep. We have Fiesta. I like Jamie. Jamie says, not fiasco, fiesta. There, I'm gonna run with that. Let's get to that last clip. 1 hour and 34 seconds.
In the future. So ILUS looking forward, huge balance sheet, liquid assets, strong capital base, access to capital, strong, exciting subsidiaries that can grow, strong boards running each and every company, each and every individual company, and effectively the beginning, what we like to say, the beginning of the delivery of our roadmap. You know, you guys may say our roadmap started, you know.
Right on. Take it, Jordan.
Yeah, so this one's easy. And then, of course, because of the excellent news that I had in procuring like so many extra ILUS shares.
You're taking credit for some of that capital, aren't you?
Well, no, but I did get to talk to a whole bunch of people that I was fortunate enough to meet at like the different shareholders meetings. And so this one immediately just stuck out to the respect and reverence that they have for Dan Peters, and what we expect from him running ERT is when you're in the room, and of course he's, you know, I'm just singling him out, but he's not exclusive to being amazing, that it was really impressive to see what they have planned. And again, since most investors, especially in the OTC, have difficulty looking past the share price, they don't necessarily see all these different avenues that are opening up at the same time. But what they're possibly missing is that there's a city being built right around them, you know, as they sit in that small room, not going outside and looking around. The amount of work that they've been able to do and the amount of growth, acquisitions of companies, and buildup is that they've all but told us that QIND has another $150 million of orders that they would love to do, but they need the capital in order to make that happen. Now, the moment the QIND uplists, that's also going to help solve the problem with the $2 million loan that they got for, you know, with using QIND as shares as a collateral, which already should tell anybody with any sanity that it has to be worth something, because people who have real money would not loan it out if the shares weren't worth anything. And then my understanding is that ILUS is buying those shares back, or QIND is buying those shares back, and that we'll end up paying approximately $2.4 million for the $2 million that we borrowed. And all these things are being done, you know, so that they can have a successful uplist, sell the shares that they need to sell to raise the money that they need to raise for tranche payments and other, you know, operating costs. And this is just one more, you know, step that once that proof of concept happens, I don't even want to speculate what's going to happen to the share prices. I kind of don't care, because whatever happens, I'm going to exploit it. If it stays down, I'll buy more. If it goes up, I'll buy more.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's just taking advantage of that opportunity. It really is. And, you know, for all of you guys that have been riding this one out long, kudos to you. I wish you all the best, no matter where you bought. If you're averaging down, if you're taking advantage of this opportunity now, remember, this is not financial advice. But Jord, thank you for coming on. This has been, you know, this was a meaty show, guys. This was our longest show. There was a lot of information. Jord put in a ton of work into putting those clips together. And just like combing through that nice vodcast that he put out. And
don't forget Rob.
Oh yeah, Rob, you know, thank you so much, guys. You know, for all the little extras that have been happening with the BFC, you could thank Rob for that, producer Rob, and he's eventually going to be on the show, but he's really helping me network a lot and just really just branch out and just you know, really grow the channel, because we have something special here with this firsthand due diligence and having access to management teams like we do. This is my late night voice, because I know kids are trying to sleep back to school, right? But Jord, no, seriously, and I want to thank seriously every single one of you that have been tuning into these lives on a Wednesday night, spending time on a work night, and just hanging out with the BFC crew. You know, sincere thanks from Jord, Rob, and myself. We want to build something special here. If you haven't, join our Discord. Click the link, because we're gonna be you know, vetting people to join that. Yeah, that's funny. So sorry you have to work with E-Rock. Yeah, I'm sorry I got to live with myself. No, I'm just kidding. No, but in all seriousness, you know, we're going to be vetting people. We're going to be bringing people on board to be a part of that private investment group. And, you know, and not even just that, we just want to create a space for sharing quality information and giving people the chance to ask questions and be a part of these live interviews, because that's what this is all about. And this is something that you're really not going to get on any other YouTube channel, you know, in regards to like OTC and NASDAQ. I mean, we've had 2 NASDAQ companies on already, and it's been awesome. So we're growing, and I want every single one of you to be a part of it. So, Jord, any final thoughts to our fellow investment friends?
Yeah, I would make sure to let everybody know to join BFC Discord, which would ultimately lead to BFC Capital, unless you want me to say literally, because it wouldn't literally lead there, but it ultimately would lead there. And then, same stuff with the ILUS Discord with Rickers.
Yes.
The whole gang. I wanted to personally thank JP, Nick, and Louise that, without them, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to have been able to show them how committed I was to the company and how much I want to see them succeed. And of course, to everybody that showed up tonight, Alonzo, Gene, Brett, it's really nice when people take time out of their schedules to come out here. And while not every single question gets addressed, a lot of the times that happens is because either they're not allowed to, or strategically it doesn't make sense to. This is why I think that the most important thing you can ever do, which is why I enjoy being on your show, good sir, is look towards integrity. And the people that have it are the people you want to surround yourself with. And if they don't, then probably not the business you want to be involved in.
Right on. You got to surround yourself with good people, like-minded people that build you up. And that's really important. And staying optimistic, guys. Thank you, Jord. And listen, guys, this is it. That's all we got. This was a marathon tonight. We're going to do it again next Wednesday. It's not going to be as meaty, I don't think, but we are going to have that virtual tour of the integrated cannabis facility out there in California. And we're going to have a couple other guests on. I'd love to get what's his name? Adam Thomas from GRPS on to give us an update. Lots going on with that shrimp farm, but that's all I got. Oh, he is great. You know what? He has a passion for what he does. That's it. Lisa Matthews, she says, great night. Thank you all. No, great night. Thank you guys. That's all we got. And remember, there's more that binds us than breaks us. Have an awesome night. Peace out, guys.